go over breaking news, live news, and we're going to get you caught up on all things going through Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey. We'll even dip into some of our top stories around the country, as well as maybe even internationally. I want to remind you all that this is an interactive news program, so that means we're on social media. And if you are with us on any of our live streams there, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all you got to do is hit us up in our live chat comment section. Tell me what you want to hear about. Ask me a question to ask a reporter or a meteorologist, and I'll be able to answer your questions. Now, you guys, I want to show you a couple of things that are going on right now as we speak. So we see the New York, New Jersey Stadium, where this weekend it'll be going down. Spain will take on Argentina to see who's really the king of football. It's going to be the final World Cup match. That again is going down at New York, New Jersey Stadium. That is East Rutherford, New Jersey, if you're familiar with MetLife Stadium. To the right of that, you see the Statue of Liberty. Well, barely. It's been a really hazy last couple of days. That's because Canada's wildfire smoke has made its way down into the northeast portion of the United States, and even us here in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and even Delaware, we're all smelling it, experiencing it, trying to make sure that we're all staying safe. So we'll be going over some of the top safety protocols that you guys should add to your daily routines, and I want you to keep this stuff in mind as we get into the weekend. Of course, you're also taking a look at the link, because tonight Shane Gillis will be having a comedy show. And even though there's no roof over there, it's not stopping fans from getting on out to have a good laugh. That's supposed to be I think it's a sold out show, if not just about. There are going to be thousands of people heading that way pretty soon. And we're also going to get you some new information on a stabbing that we heard happening on a SEPTA bus. We'll get into all the details of this in just a second. But first and foremost, I want to get on out to our meteorologist, Scott Williams. You and Kathy and Drew have been doing the hard work of keeping us all up to date on what's going on here in the Philadelphia region, as well as New Jersey and Delaware. What's going on with these code alerts that we're seeing? Yeah. Where are we at?
I mean, it really is still tremendous across the Delaware Valley, Judea, and as we get towards Saturday, we'll be in a code orange, so starting to see things improve. And then thunderstorms, that will kind of wash the atmosphere, cleanse the atmosphere of all of this wildfire smoke that we have been dealing with, of course, over the past couple of days. Now, the good news is the fifth heat wave of the season that ended today. High temperatures only made it into the upper 80s, but we still had the warm conditions, the hazy conditions, as well as the code red, as well as the purple, very unhealthy, really for everyone stepping outdoors. So as we take a look at some of those readings right now in and around the Philadelphia area, one's measuring unhealthy and one is measuring very unhealthy. So of course, still looking at that particulate matter in the atmosphere. So we saw that smoke, we smelled it a little bit, and even though you may not smell that smoke, you're still dealing with some of the particulate matter. So that's why you've seen folks kind of masking up across the Delaware Valley with those N95 masks, trying to shield themselves from that particulate matter that's so fine that you can't even see it, especially on the ground level. So you may see that haze in the distance, of course. Looking at the sun this morning, we saw it, and we're going to be seeing that concentration get a little higher again this evening. So things are not over by any stretch of the imagination here on this Friday. As we run that latest computer model, that red, that kind of purple color that you see, that sticks around for tonight and a part of the day tomorrow. But then take a look at this. Moving towards Saturday, moving towards Sunday, we are in the clear. So good news is, all of this smoke, it is going to be washed away as that cold front presses through Saturday afternoon and evening. But it comes at a cost. So you know how this summer's been going. We get rid of one thing and we replace it with another. So we're going to be replacing the smoke with strong, potentially severe thunderstorms, especially for Saturday. Now, Sunday will be the pick of the two upcoming weekend days, but we could be dealing with down trees, power outages. We're talking about maybe flash flooding as we get toward your Saturday, and we are still kind of on edge with those microbursts that hit parts of the area just about a week ago, last Saturday. Some of those storms tomorrow could produce some similar results. And then we can't rule out an isolated tornado or two. So, I mean, it seems like it's the summer that keeps on giving us, a punch after one punch after the next. So as we take a look at those temperatures, currently we are in the 80s, stepping outdoors, so it's warm. The humidity hasn't been as bad today, but it is going to increase for tonight and during the day on Saturday as we see that warm front approaches tomorrow morning. A few scattered showers will be around with that warm front. Then we get a little bit of a lull, and that will set the stage for some daytime heating. That will destabilize the atmosphere, set the stage for those afternoon and evening thunderstorms out there that could turn strong to severe. Now, some of those morning thunderstorms could be a little gusty as well. And the thing that's going to be different with these storms tomorrow is that there's going to be a little twist, a little spin in the atmosphere. So that's what we call helicity or shear, and that's one of the ingredients that you need to potentially produce some tornadoes. So, I mean, that's actually on the table for tomorrow as we watch that front approach. The main timing will be for the afternoon into the evening for those thunderstorms, but it's going to kind of come in rounds. We could have a few late tomorrow morning, and then things reignite after the lunchtime frame. So that's what we're going to be watching for tomorrow in terms of that severe weather. We talked about tropical downpours. That's one of the threats. Damaging wind gusts in excess of 60, 70 miles per hour. That could cause some power outages, trees to come down, and also can't rule out a couple of tornado warnings. And we're going to show you this map from the Storm Prediction Center. Now, typically we are in that marginal, that green, or that slight risk on a scale of 1 to 5. So this puts us on a level 3. So it's kind of rare to get into those higher levels around the Delaware Valley. So basically this is kind of signaling that the ingredients are more favorable for more numerous severe thunderstorms along that I-95 corridor from D.C. to Baltimore, right through Wilmington, Delaware, Philadelphia, Trenton, north and west suburbs, parts of South Jersey as well. So be weather aware for tomorrow. So once things kind of get active and going, it's going to kind of be that just kind of like, I might as well just, take it indoors for the rest of the day, unfortunately, because once those storms get going, they're going to kind of have a tendency to want to rain themselves out. So that's where the flash flood and the flood watch comes into play. And this is in effect beginning tomorrow morning, continuing through the end of the day. So it's along those urbanized areas, the I-95 corridor, the immediate interior suburbs of Burlington County, Camden County, Gloucester County, Salem County, Newcastle County, north and west suburbs, for any of those storms to produce a lot of rainfall. So here's when we track some of that storm energy, and this is what I was talking about in terms of the threat for tornadoes. We look at helicity. This is basically spin in the atmosphere. So this is what we're going to be watching, especially tomorrow, late morning into the afternoon. And what you see happening as we go in time, we kind of go out of that green color, which is the lowest available storm energy or helicity, and we get into the yellows. We get into a little bit of that orange. So that is indicating that there will be a little more spin in the atmosphere over some of those areas where you see the yellow, where you see the orange, and that develops right over I-95. It develops into north and west suburbs. So that is the concern, and that is what you need. That's just one of the ingredients that you need in order for some of those supercell thunderstorms to produce a couple of tornadoes. So where is the system coming from? Well, it's coming from portions of the Great Lakes and the Ohio River Valley. So it's going to come in a couple of rounds. We have the warm front that will advance overhead early tomorrow morning, and then we'll get in that warm sector, and then the actual cold front that will move through Saturday night into Sunday. So that will set the stage for some strong, potentially severe storms. So Saturday morning, here's 8 o'clock, still looking okay. But once again, there could be some late morning showers kind of popping up north and west. some of those could be strong to maybe even severe. We're talking 10, 11 a.m. in the morning. A couple of severe thunderstorms maybe early north and west. And then we get into that lull right around the lunchtime frame for most of the area. That's when we could have a few breaks in the clouds, destabilize the atmosphere, higher instability, build those thunderstorms for the afternoon and evening. So here's the next wave that moves through 2, 3, 4 o'clock. So around 2 p.m. until about 8 o'clock. These storms could be strong to severe. So we'll watch the timing, and there you go. 4, 5 o'clock as most outdoor activities are taking place, preparing for dinner plans on Saturday. We're looking at thunderstorms, and some of these could be strong to severe. Some of these could be rotating, maybe even a couple of tornado warnings in the mix with this time frame as well. So here's 7, 8 o'clock. So once again, once these afternoon and evening storms get going, they will have a tendency to continue into the remainder of the Saturday evening time frame as they push from north and west to south and east. So once again, we will be watching those progress with the actual cold front that moves through late Saturday afternoon and evening. So what will this mean for events taking place? So the Phillies are taking on the Mets. 4:05, first pitch. We could be talking about a postponement, maybe a rain delay. Of course, lightning is going to be one of the calling cards with some of these storms that pop up. And when thunder roars, you have to head indoors. And we've seen that play out before at some of the stadiums in South Philadelphia. So we're going to be keeping tabs on lightning in the vicinity. Will they have to, move the game up? Will they have to, do a doubleheader on Sunday when we know that better weather is going to be in the offing? So we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. But thunderstorms are a likelihood at the ballpark for tomorrow with that 4:05 start. Now, in terms of the shore, scattered showers and thunderstorms will be around for your Saturday. It's not going to rain the entire day. I think most of the coverage will be centered around the late afternoon and evening time frame. So you may get a little bit of, a beach day in before things turn really unsettled. But once again, lightning, that will be the big issue. So if you can hear thunder, you can be struck by lightning. So just kind of keep that in mind if you are down the shore for Saturday. The pick of the weekend will be Sunday with temperatures topping out in the mid 80s. And then as we move toward Monday, maybe you can just extend the shore weekend into Monday if Saturday just pans out to be a wash. And then we're looking at, nice conditions Sunday into Monday down the shore. The overall Weather Authority 7-day forecast shows tracking storms for Saturday. Pick of the weekend Sunday. Monday stays nice. And then a few more storms Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. But below average temperatures. We're in the low to mid 80s as opposed to the upper 80s. 88 degrees is the average high temperature for this time of year. So finally, no heat waves in that 7-day forecast or the actual 10-day temperature trend for that matter. So once again, we're still monitoring the smoke across the Delaware Valley, still in that unhealthy to very unhealthy category. And it's going to kind of phase itself out gradually during the day tomorrow as we see more showers and thunderstorms. You may wake up tomorrow morning and we're still talking about hazy conditions around the region with that smoke lingering. But as those storms develop and kind of wash the atmosphere out, that's when that smoke will start to improve during the day. So it's a trade-off yet again. So it's kind of like, another punch in the face. I mean, this is just,
That's exactly how it should be described.
It's been nonstop, right?
Yes. I didn't think that I'd get to hear you say no heat wave ever again, because this was our fifth.
I mean, but we're gonna be on standby. It's like, what's next? What's going on? What's happening?
I know.
Right?
I know.
Right? We've kind of just been like, what's next, right?
You guys, between our meteorologists and our sports team, you guys have had to stay on your toes all of the time this summer because it's been nonstop craziness for all of you.
It really has.
I respect it. I respect the hustle. Thank you so much for showing us what's going on. And I just want to give a quick shout out to one of our viewers on Facebook. Amanda says that she loves the stuff that we share because she's watching from Georgia. And she says that they actually do down south care about the stuff that's going on here. We got you. This is what we do here on Philadelphia Live. I take you where you want to go. Up next, I want to bring things to Shawnette Wilson, one of our reporters. We're going to keep it going with the air quality. It doesn't matter if you live here, because across the U.S., even in Minnesota, they're experiencing these air quality alerts, and it's affecting health, not just for yourself, but for your pets. Shawnette's going to walk us through some of the different ways that you can keep yourselves safe, and I just want to know, how is it really affecting us and our fur babies? Hold on, you guys. We had a quick miscommunication. Shawnette, if you're with us, can you take it away? How are we supposed to protect ourselves during these conditions?
So many people are out, about their regular business today. We have seen some people out with masks on. So there definitely, are people who are listening to what the medical experts are saying. We do know that about an hour ago, the DEP put out notice that tomorrow we are expecting, air quality to improve, which we probably have already mentioned, for pretty much all the counties in our area. We're talking about Bucks County, Chester, Delaware, Montgomery, and Philadelphia counties. They have already declared a code orange, which is an improvement, they say, as this wildfire smoke moves out. But again, as you know, even in our meeting today, this is top of mind, as we like to say, for many people. So again, like, we're out at a park today, and we've seen people out walking around. We've also seen people with their pets. I talked with a veterinarian. He's also the head of critical care at Philadelphia Animal Specialty and Emergency. His name is Eric Zager. And he basically explained it this way as we talk about pets. He says that, they breathe the same air as we do. They pretty much have the same lung structure. And so what we would think to do for ourselves is what we should keep in mind in doing for our pets as well. So let's listen to a little bit of advice that he gave today.
Like, almost yearly, we have this issue where the air quality changes due to wildfires or something like that, and people do ask questions about how they can keep their pets safe, and so it does come up now with fair regularity. We're keeping pets indoors as much as possible. So for cats, that's relatively easy, especially if you have an indoor-only cat. But if you have an indoor and outdoor cat, my recommendation would be to bring them inside while the air quality is still quite poor. For dogs, it's shortening their walks as much as possible. So, out to do their business and then right back inside. Similar like you would do for these really hot days. And so especially when they're coinciding, you want to protect your pets not only from the heat, but also from the air by limiting their times outdoors as much as possible.
All right. And so I did ask him, what are some signs that, you can look for in your pet? And again, he said pretty much the same signs that you would look for in yourself if, you are being overcome by the air quality. And that is, coughing, difficulty breathing. He mentioned with cats, particularly feline asthma is pretty common and can be obviously exacerbated by the type of air quality. So if you notice any of these symptoms in your pets, especially a cat with asthma, they recommend that you get them to a vet right away. So something I thought was interesting, Judea, when I was looking online before we were able to get the expert, like, about things that people should be concerned about or are concerned about. And I saw something that mentioned like masks for like your pets. So like, specifically like your dog. Yes. And I was like, okay, is this a thing? And so I asked him, the vet that we just talked to, I said, have people asked this question? Because I think most of us would be like, no, who would do that? And he said, well, no, actually people have inquired about it. And he said, it's not just because of this. It goes back to, COVID, when COVID hit and we were in the height of everything and we were masking. And he said people had questions about, like, now that we know that, dogs, for example, can get COVID, should we put a mask on them? So he said it's not exactly a crazy question to ask. But he did say that is not something that people should do. Reason being is because there is no mask that has been designed specifically for pets. And so if you are just going to put a mask on them, it's not going to fit properly and you will do more harm than good because you may restrict their breathing even more. So no masks. for your
Yeah,
pet babies.
For the pets. For the pets. Shawnette, that's actually really interesting. I don't think I would have thought to look that up. And so it just goes to show, like, we're trying to do the hard work for you guys and the heavy lifting for y'all.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, for anybody who's streaming with us, we're on a couple of different social media platforms. If you have ever tried to put a mask on your fur baby, let me know. Shawnette, thank you for walking us through everything that we need to know for us, for our pets, keeping everybody safe. And with that, you guys.
Judea?
Yes?
Can I mention one more thing?
Of course you can.
Okay, so I also asked about, like, you know, what things, and this might be common sense, but hey, we thought not putting a mask on was, so I'll just throw this out there as well. I said, is there anything that we should be doing, like, in our homes? And again, he said the same thing you would do for yourself. You want to, you know, make sure that if you have, you know, your filters are clean, that, you know, you're making sure your filters are up to date and, you know, they are not, you know, full of crud and stuff. You want to have a good filter in. And also if you have air purifiers, that can also help you as well as your pet. But yeah, windows down, air purifier running if you have it, and definitely make sure that your filters are clean. That's what we got.
Thank you for giving those tips, because I want to let our audience know, I'm teasing it ahead. Soon we're going to show our audience from a YouTube video how you guys will be able to make your own air purifiers, just in case you don't already have one, you don't want to spend the money, and you may already have these things laying around your home. And then also our Drew Anderson, one of our meteorologists, is going to show you guys how to make sure those filters in your home are clean and properly working. So Shawnette, great little segue. For those of you out there streaming with us, I know that you're watching right now because I asked from New York, New Jersey, different parts of Pennsylvania. We got West Philly in the house, and we've got quite a few people watching from Georgia, Columbus to be specific. Thank you so much for joining in with us. Later on, we're going to go through a couple of different areas, and I'll show you what the air quality looks like in your state, just so everybody's aware. With that being said, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, let's turn things over to sports. No, the Phillies aren't playing tonight, but that doesn't mean other sports and other teams aren't making headlines. We'll be right back with more from our sports team. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. With the Philly FIFA World Cup matches done, all eyes are now back on our local teams, Philadelphia Union. And I heard that there was a pretty big announcement made. Actually, Breland Moore and Jason Martinez got to talk about it on the Fantastic Sports Show. So Breland, tell us about what's going on.
Yeah, so the Union really needs some help, right? They won the Supporters' Shield last year, which is awarded to the best record in all of Major League Soccer, and then unfortunately they fell short in the postseason, but Really successful year in terms of regular season records last year. Their coach, Bradley Carnell, Coach of the Year, and then this season happened. They have 1 win in 15 games. Bradley Carnell has made an exit now. Ryan Richter is their interim head coach, and we finally, I think, are headed in the right direction with this team. Kai Wagner is back here now. Kai is a Union fan favorite, had played 7 seasons here for the Boys in Blue, and is a multi-time MLS All-Star. He was a Best 11 nominee for 2 or 3 times, and also was a Defender of the Year nominee for quite so many times as well, multi finalist there as well. So really talented player, and was really a Union staple for this defense. And unfortunately, he made an exit. They did sell him to Birmingham last year, but guess what? He is back. He hit the waiver wire, and the Union had to do a little finagling. I'm not going to get into that right now because it's a complicated process, but long story short, they had to move up to the waiver wire, so they made a deal with Sporting Kansas City to be able to pull that off, bring Kai home, and it's really special for him as well. You know, Judea, a lot of players, I'm sure that you've heard this throughout your tenure here already, that if they play here a long time, a lot of players are attached to this city and call this place home, raise their families here, and that was very much the case for Kai Wagner, and so I'm sure he's absolutely thrilled to be back here with the Union, and I'm sure his family, it means a lot to his family as well to be back here, where he just had a really healthy tenure. And hopefully, like I said, they've only won 1 game so far in their 15 games. They've taken that break for the World Cup, are back in action on the 25th, and hopefully Wagner's presence will maybe light a fire under this team that has really, really struggled out of the gate.
So I sure hope so. And I think it's not just exciting for him and the family, which I'm glad that you made that point. I think the fans too. I'm starting to see that when you as a player are loyal to the franchise and loyal to the city, the fans will ride to the end of the earth for you.
Yeah, and I think this Union crew needed something to be excited about. This team has not given them much of anything to be excited about this year. It's been very, very rough watch. And so Wagner's return here really injects the fan base, I think, with a little bit more hope that maybe things are trending in the correct direction and they can get themselves back on track here. After all, they do have a lot of schedule left to play. They've dug themselves quite a hole, you know, to be at the bottom barrel of the league, and to only have 1 win is it's rough. But hopefully, like I said, that kind of helps spark this. Also with the firing of Bradley Carnell, as I mentioned, and Ryan Richter taking over this team, there's been a lot of changes over this World Cup break, and hopefully this now, you know, further jump starts them into some success here, because it's been brutal to watch. I'm not gonna even sugarcoat it. It's been really rough.
Well, we'll keep our eyes on what's going on over there, and like you said, I hope that they play a little better as well.
Yeah.
Let's move on over to the Flyers, because they also made a pretty exciting announcement, and this one comes in the form of a couple $1 million.
Yeah.
New contract?
Yeah, so Danny Briere we're taking, a really great approach to this offseason. Not only has he been wheeling and dealing, he's also making sure that he shores up that young core that we saw take them to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs last year. So Jamie Drysdale is extended here. He just completed his 2nd season with the Flyers, and now he is shored up for 4 more years. This is an average annual value of $6.5 million, and he's, as I mentioned, part of that young core of guys that hopefully will be the identity of this team moving forward. They have taken, you know, a bunch of different steps over this offseason. Trevor Zegras, remember, was just not re-signed, extended earlier this week as well. So Danny B really doing some work here, making sure that these guys are taken care of and are here to stay and locked down for the years to come, because that's so important to have that continuity moving forward as you continue to build this team that obviously has seen some success and seen some positive results over the past season.
Really, I'm happy that you kept it professional with how you just told me what happened, because I'm not going to lie to you. When I saw the headline, I went completely ignorant. So I had to look up how old he is, because you just said he's part of the younger squad.
Yeah.
24 years old, making stupid money like this. And then I was like, well, how much do hockey players make in general? And this is roundabouts like the average, I would say. The low end is not that far off.
Yeah, and this is,
Hey.
I hate to sound, this is nothing. They do not make money like the NFL does, or NBA or baseball. This is absolutely nothing. When you get into the 10-year, $330 million range, then we'll talk. But the hockey players don't make nearly what their counterparts do in the other three leagues, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, I would take, if Fox 29 wants to pay me an average annual value of $6.5 million, I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm just saying, that some of the other people in the sports world they're making a little bit more money. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, well, I was still amazed. I just couldn't imagine being in my early 20s, putting away money like this. But it also makes sense why, like, let's go over to football. It makes sense why we see some of those younger players not being able to handle their money, and a lot of them end up being broke afterwards.
Yep.
I get it. It. Okay, let's see what else is going on, because like I said, there were quite a few things. Oh, the FIFA World Cup.
Yeah.
This weekend we've got our finals.
Yeah, so we've got the third place game tomorrow. France and England, they will play. Now, you're looking at MetLife there, I believe. But they'll play in Miami tomorrow. That is your third place kind of consolation prize type of game. But then on Sunday, you get your main event there. That's Argentina and Spain, 3 p.m. You can watch it on Fox 29. And that is for all the marbles. That's your championship game here. And it's hard to believe. I feel like it's gone really, I didn't think it would go by fast, but it kind of has. And now we're here at the final stage of it. Argentina, of course, looking to repeat. The last time a team repeated in terms of back-to-back World Cups was way back in the early 1960s. And that is Brazil was the last one to do it. The only other team, I believe, off the top of my head, to have done it is Italy in the 30s. So history on the line. However, a lot of people, myself included, are a little tired of Tom Brady constantly winning. That's the comparison, right? So Lionel Messi has some haters. I'm not a hater per se. I just want a different storyline. I just want a different storyline here and there. Like, after a while, it's just like, okay, here we go again with this guy. So I am Viva España on this game, but no matter what, I think we're in for a great showing. Either way you go, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and you can watch it on Fox. What's better than that?
Yes, you can watch it on Fox. Listen, I was listening into the Fantastic Sports Show before you guys came on out here, and I heard you also saying Kylian Mbappe, like, it would be fun to see what he does on Saturday.
Yeah, so there's a couple of memes going around, and it's like, if Kylian Mbappe and Harry Kane, who plays for England and is one of their most prolific goal scorers, if they decide that they're each going to allow each other to score like 5 goals each, then that blocks Messi from getting the golden boot. And so there's a bunch of different memes of like, can we pull off this conspiracy theory? I thought that it was kind of fun. Who knows what we're going to do? A lot of SEC football fans are also tweeting out like, so are we playing our starters, or are they sitting because this is a meaningless bowl game? It's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out on Saturday, because it is kind of like what do you get for third place? I'm not really entirely sure. So it's not like you get a bronze medal or anything. So I don't know how that one's going to go, but
you get
it should be interesting. I mean, France and England have had a rivalry in everything, politics, all sorts of stuff. So I think it's going to be heated no matter what, and it'll be a good showing.
100%. And if the weather, like, fingers crossed, holds up, there will be a watch party at FIFA Fan Fest in Lemon Hill. But if it doesn't, watch it from home at the bar. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's a little smoky out there, so if you want to stand in the middle of a barbecue, you do you.
That's what they're doing right now at the link. We'll get into that in a little while. Breland, thank you so much for walking us through all the stuff that's happening. Again, no, the Phillies aren't playing, but there are so many other headlines that you guys should be keeping up with. Again, catch the Fantastic Sports Show for all of your hot takes and everything that's going on in the sports world. Breland, appreciate you.
Got it.
All right, you guys, so take a look at a couple of different watch parties that are available in New Jersey on Sunday. If you wanted to get out and let's say you couldn't make it to New York, New Jersey Stadium, Haddon Square Pop-Up Beer Garden, Haddon Township, is having an event. This takes place 1 to 6 p.m. Again, it's at the Beer Garden. This is Soccer Fest 26 FIFA World Cup third place playoff and final watch party. We've also got the corner of Haddon and Woodlawn Avenues out in Collingswood, New Jersey. From noon to 6 p.m., they'll have a giant screen to watch the game, inflatables, kids activities, food trucks, and plenty of giveaways. So if you want something for free, you know where to go. Last but not least, out in Camden, New Jersey, we've got Van Yeda Park. If you go on Sunday, noon to 6 p.m., again, they'll also have that giant screen. They will also have inflatables, plenty of activities for the kids, so this is a family-friendly event. Food trucks if you're hungry, and once again, they are giving away free stuff. I don't know about you, I am really interested in seeing all the different performances that'll take place across all of the different cities. Atlanta's bringing out Ludacris and a couple of other performers. I'm wondering, how it will go down in New Jersey. I know Justin Bieber has been teased as one of the headliners, so that's going to be pretty big. You guys, let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, I want to let you know how our airports, especially PHL, are handling all this hazy, nasty air quality in the weather because a storm is brewing. We'll get into that when we come back. Back to Philadelphia Live. You were taking a live look out at PHL, that's Philadelphia's International Airport, and you can barely see beyond what's right there on the ground. I do need to let you know right now, according to the FAA, there's a ground stop. They say there's an average, not a ground stop, it's a ground delay. They say there's an average delay of about 67 minutes for flights due to the low visibility in the area. This is supposed to last until about 10:59 p.m. tonight. So if you had a flight out or you're expecting families to come in, their flights may be delayed. It may take a little while longer to get to or from wherever it is that you're trying to go to. Also, Newark Airport, we're seeing that they also have a ground delay for a couple of different departures from certain airports. Theirs also goes through about midnight tonight, so I just wanted to let you know about both of those local-based airports, just in case anybody's trying to get out to New Jersey, or again, you're expecting people here in Philadelphia. That is what's going on, and I bring this up because on my way into work today, I saw that thousands of flights were being delayed and almost 100 canceled across the U.S., and that's because of airport chaos in a bunch of different cities and states. So thankfully, Pennsylvania and Delaware, New Jersey weren't among some of the biggest impacted areas. However, we've got places like Texas. Keep in mind, they've got all that flooding. Fortunately, we know 2 people have died, it's more specifically in Kerr County area. Illinois is included, DC, Washington State, Minnesota, Ohio, Kentucky are also some of those areas. When we heard that Dallas-Fort Worth was the hardest hit airport, today they had 693 delays due to some flash flooding and tornado risks all throughout Texas Hill Country. So again, I was just telling you what's going on. We actually took this video earlier. Our Skyfox flew over the airport trying to see those flights coming in. And this just goes to show how poorly these pilots are seeing as they are trying to land planes and keep everyone on board safe. That's what it looks like in the skies. So here's one of those flights. Soon the chopper is gonna scroll back up and you're gonna see another one come in. It's just really nasty out there. Now, luckily, we were in a code red yesterday. They had updated it to a code purple for earlier today. Looking now, it looks like for the area of Philadelphia, it is back down to a code orange. So that means not everyone will be irritated if they try to go outside and, experience any kind of activity in the outdoors. But for sure, it will be what's considered our most vulnerable population. So that could mean children, it could mean our elderly. I'm not learning, it could mean our pets. Also, I haven't said this before, but it could also be people who are pregnant. So I just wanted to put that out there. I know quite a few people here in the Philadelphia area specifically deal with asthma. Yesterday, I spoke to an expert, a nurse, who explained that it's actually about 21% of folks here in our area. That's pretty significant. So just, we all want to keep you guys safe. Now, earlier today, some leaders from Philadelphia held a press conference and they went over some of the biggest things you need to know about the air quality in our area, how they plan to keep you guys safe as well, what they are doing in terms of activities, in terms of our federal employees. A lot of people still have to work outside in these conditions. Well, not all of them, according to what they had to say here. Take a listen.
I'm Adam Teal, Managing Director for the City of Philadelphia. We are here to give a brief update on the state of city services given the changing air quality from the Canadian wildfires. Dr. Raval Nelson will talk about the specifics, but not a lot has changed since our briefing last night, other than today, our city departments continue working to ensure residents in Philadelphia are served, and they have been doing that for the last month, 24/7, 365. Many of our city employees and key partners have been working literally around the clock now for more than a month, supporting the World Cup, July 4th, Major League Baseball All-Star Week, and other America 250 events. On top of that, our teams have responded through extreme heat, severe storms, and now wildfire smoke again from Canada. Along the way, they continue delivering all of the essential services that our residents, businesses, and visitors expect. We ask Philadelphians to do what you've been doing since last week's storm that created havoc in 2 regions of the city. Check on your neighbors and help others in need. As Mayor Parker constantly reminds us, we are one Philly. That's what happened last week with both of these weather events. These show that we are a united city, as our entire city workforce, along with our residents, our neighbors, our communities, continue to move us forward through this unprecedented year. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our Public Health Commissioner, Dr. Palak Raval Nelson.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Managing Director Teal. My name is Dr. Palak Raval Nelson, and I'm the Health Commissioner. I want to thank all of our partners for this response, from the city agencies to the city staff, to employers, to community partners, and most importantly, all of our residents who are taking precautions, checking on their vulnerable loved ones, and taking this situation seriously. I'm happy to report that virtually all of our Breathe Philly monitors are currently reporting red air quality levels. So we have transitioned from purple to red at this point. But let me be clear, our air quality is still unhealthy. Right now, things are better than they have been since last night. As we're learning, this is a changeable situation, depending on the wind pattern and other things. While we're in code red right now, some forecasts are saying that we may be back in code purple tonight. I am hopeful that we will be out of danger, out of the danger zone sometime on Saturday, but that's up to the wind, not me. So now it's time to put your guard down. It's not time to put your guard down. We all need to stay alert. If you don't need to be outdoors, stay inside. If you have to be outdoors, try to limit your time outdoors. Take frequent breaks. If we are back in code purple, 90 minutes is the maximum amount of time you should be spending outdoors. And that's not a bad metric for code red either. People should consider wearing N95 or KN95 masks when they're outdoors as well. Stay aware of the situation so you can make the right decision for you and your family. Visit phila.gov/breathephilly for the most up-to-date air quality right in your neighborhood. Our network of 76 real-time air quality monitors is available 24/7 to help keep you and your family safe. If you want to know our latest about Code Purple and the situation and the associated recommendations, please visit phila.gov/air quality purple PM. I know that we have had a long and exciting summer, and the weather has been tough these past few weeks. But I'm confident that if we continue to take care of ourselves, take care of each other, keep an eye on our neighbors, our family, our friends, our pets, that we'll get through this. And we can look back at how fabulously we celebrated America's 250th birthday. I thank you very much. Please stay safe and take this seriously.
All right, good afternoon. Carlton Williams, Director of Clean and Green Initiatives for the City of Philadelphia. I want to provide you an update on trash and recycling collections and other critical city services. As you've just heard from our health commissioner, situation is slightly improving and gradually improving over the next couple of days. This evening, she is still concerned about the air quality that may come in tomorrow morning, and so we are cautiously re-implementing trash and recycling collections starting tomorrow. Given the amount of air quality issues going from purple to red, we will make judgment decisions as to when we will resume collections in terms of a start time tomorrow, but we do plan on working all day Saturday and Sunday to ensure that last week's trash and recycling is collected in time for our services to be on a regular schedule starting Monday. We are also very concerned about the health and safety of all of our employees, and we're going to continue to provide PPE equipment and all the necessary items to keep them safe, routine breaks, and ultimately monitoring them for any health conditions that may arise. We also encourage our residents to continue leaving your trash out curbside if you have it already out this evening. If you haven't put it out yet for today's collection, you may do so this evening. We will be there tomorrow, and we will continue to work throughout the weekend to ensure that it's done. I just want to thank all of our city employees for their efforts throughout all of the weather conditions that we had, not just yesterday, but all last week, especially with the mini bursts that we had to endure, the hot temperatures. Our employees are resilient, and they've stood up time and time again to deliver the services that we need to our city. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Director Williams. And to reinforce one of the things he said, we are making real-time decisions about all of our city services right now, in the future, based on science, based on what our air monitoring equipment is showing, based on the health and safety of our employees, of our workforce, and of course, always, first and foremost, with delivering the highest quality service to our residents, businesses, and visitors 24/7, 365. So with that, we'll take some questions, and we have a number of our commissioners here to help answer those if needed.
All right, you guys, before they get into the question and answer portion, let me know what you guys want to hear about, where you're watching from. Pretty soon we'll be able to go over what the air quality is in a bunch of different areas. This is probably one of the more fun, interactive segments of the show, so it'll be really interesting. Again, let me know which city you're watching from if you are comfortable, and then we will look up what the air quality is like near you. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I heard that there's a comedy show tonight that's bringing out thousands, and I mean like tens of thousands of people. They seem to not care about the air quality alerts out here, so how are they going to get by so they can have a couple of laughs? We'll get into it with our reporter, Jill, when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. Take a look at this. This is happening right now as we speak. It is a large fire burning at an apartment complex in Minnesota. To be specific, this is the St. Louis Park area, and it's called the Helix Apartments. Now, across Minnesota, they've already been experiencing wildfires. We actually checked in on the air quality in this particular area. It's moderate, so it's not that bad. But in a couple of other areas, like the Twin Cities, they're experiencing very damaging, unhealthy air quality, just like we were here in Philadelphia. So as you can see, fire crews are on scene, trying their best to put this fire out as quickly as possible. Our sister station's helicopter is flying over it, giving us these live pictures. We'll check back in on how that fight is going in just a little bit, but I want to bring things back out to one of our reporters. So I heard that there was a Shane Gillis comedy show tonight. Of course, the Philly boy had to make his way back home, but now the big question is, how are people going to, get through all of this air quality issues that we've been seeing? And Jill has been on the grounds, talking to people, seeing people walk through. How are they feeling? We're about 10 minutes away?
Hey there. Hey, Judea. We are coming to you from the link. As you can see, a wave of people coming in. Maybe a train just made its way over at the station over there. But Pennsylvania native and comedian Shane Gillis, he's here for an 8 o'clock show, and it's 7:53, so these people better go on and hurry in. Gates opened up at 6, and we saw a bunch of tailgaters. We were in South Philly yesterday, and honestly, we saw more tailgaters today than yesterday, despite these same air quality concerns. The comedian posted on his Instagram yesterday that he was, quote, not canceling because of the smoke, and as you can see, that happened. The link did not make any changes to his showtime. And he is a massive Eagles fan, and then on top of it, this is a one-day only show that could have also caused no type of cancellation or rescheduling event as well. Now, this is not the only stop we made today. We also went to the Art Museum, and when we were there, much like here, and as you can see the people filing behind me, barely anyone is wearing a mask despite these air quality concerns. You'll still see people getting a lot of go birds too, but you'll see a lot of people not wearing that mask. You'll see maybe ever so often one person wearing a mask, but overall, despite these concerns, despite what the city has been keeping people educated throughout, they're not really following the city's guidance. And the city earlier today said we're back in the code red. So things are getting a little better from the purple. Tomorrow, too, expect it to change. And you're just bound to get that, right, with the event happening at the link. But tomorrow, orange, so conditions are gradually getting better. But, yeah, city officials, they were advising people earlier today at a presser, don't be outside longer than 90 minutes unless you have to, and to wear a mask. And as you can see, this event's going to be longer than 90 minutes. People aren't really wearing their masks. So I guess the takeaway from today is the air quality concerns still existing, but it's not stopping people and their Friday plans. They're really operating as normal, despite what we're going through.
And just one thing that we were talking about in the studio is, like, let's say they did decide to postpone this. When would it be possible for them to even get back into a stadium of this, like, stature, of this size? You mentioned that this is a one night only. He's from Philadelphia, and so yes, we've got the health concern, which I do think some people are taking very seriously. But then I think we've also got people who are looking at the situation like, if we don't do it now, we probably just can't, and that's a lot of money to miss out on.
Yeah.
So yeah, we keep it like that. But Jill, one question I want to ask you. Yesterday, you were very open and vulnerable on the stream, where you had told me that you actually suffer from asthma, and so I'm just wondering, why you're out there today, how do you feel? What is it like for you?
To be honest, hasn't been too bad for me. Eyes are a little itchy, but haven't had to use the inhaler today. But thank you for asking. I do have the mask on standby in case I were to need it, but haven't really had to use it today.
Okay, that is good to hear, especially for people who are still trying to get on out there. Again, it looks like they've got about 5 minutes or so before that show is really supposed to get started, and I'm interested in seeing how they enjoy. So Jill, again, thank you for keeping us up to date with what's going on out there. Now, earlier today, we also kept an eye on Lemon Hill because BB Rexa is supposed to perform, but it did seem that not that many people decided to get out for that particular event, which, by the way, is free. So we kind of looked at it like, well, maybe they're thinking to themselves, I don't really lose out on much in terms of what's in my pocket if I were to miss out on this. You know, a lot of people have the FOMO, fear of missing out, but seems to be that this, at least a couple of hours ago, it wasn't too bad of a audience that's gone out there. I mean, other days we have seen Lemon Hill completely packed, people still trying to get in from outside to see either their favorite performer or their favorite players take on one another. So this has been a rare sighting, I would say, for the FIFA Fan Festival, but that was a look a couple of hours ago. Maybe it's changed as of now while we're approaching the 8 o'clock hour. Now, I want to show you guys just a couple of events that we heard have already been canceled or postponed because some other entities are taking this air quality concern very seriously. So there was a gospel concert at the Dell Music Center that was supposed to take place today. We had the likes of Tasha Cobbs Leonard, Chandler Moore, and John Reddick. Unfortunately, they will not be performing tonight. So that was supposed to get started at 7 o'clock. It was called Praise Under the Stars. We're still waiting to see what day they will put it on. But officials who put this particular event together said that the safety and well-being of their guests, artists, vendors, and staff remain their highest priority. They said that they felt like this was the responsible decision given the current environmental conditions. Keep in mind, we started the day in a code purple. We've also seen that the drone art show, Harry Potter, so all of you wizards out there, unfortunately, you will not be able to see that drone show tonight. It was also canceled yesterday. I'm hearing that they're still going to try to put something together on Sunday and maybe even Monday. So they're keeping an eye on the weather tomorrow. They're not thinking that that'll be viable for them, but Sunday and Monday seem to be the sweet spots Keep your eyes on their social media pages, and if you already had a ticket to it, again, you will be able to use it for one of these upcoming shows. Last but not least, we heard that trash pickup would be suspended. So thankfully, some of our hardest working folks here in Philadelphia will not be out and about. So don't put your bin out. You've probably already seen the messaging. But I do believe they're going to try to come and pick up that trash tomorrow. Again, I would suggest looking at the government's website or keeping up with Philadelphia Mayor's Instagram page. That's where you'll see the latest updates on what you need to do. Last but not least, public pools in our area were also closed. They're trying to keep as many people indoors with the AC, with fans as possible. That being said, let's take a quick break. When we come back, I want to get back into all the different ways that we could be keeping ourselves safe. We're going to bring in an expert, a pulmonologist. I had to look that up. It's somebody who specializes in respiratory illnesses or just keeping us healthy in that regard. So we're going to be talking to him pretty soon about what you need to do, what you can do, and how to make sure we are going to get through these air quality concerns safely and in one piece. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. You are taking a live look at Philadelphia's Art Museum. And if you needed a visual on what a code red air quality alert looks like, it's this. It's so foggy and hazy out there. We're seeing that across a couple of different cities. And I just want to make sure that everybody is doing everything that they can to make themselves be safe. I think a lot of people aren't quite grasping what's going on here and how serious it may be. So I want to bring in an expert, Dr. Mohammed Smeed. He's a pulmonologist who works at Jefferson Einstein Philadelphia Hospital. First of all, Dr. Smeed, thank you so much for giving us some time here on Philadelphia Live.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to help public be more aware about this code red going on.
We 100% appreciate it. And my first question for you actually comes from our audience on TikTok. It's very simple. Why is the air quality dangerous right now? What is it about a code red?
Yeah, I think if you've looked at our Philadelphia skyline in the past few days, it seems like a gray haze has covered our city. And what has happened is this is a plume of smoke drifting south all the way from Canada due to 800 or so wildfires. Now, these wildfires are heavily concentrated in particles called PM2.5. These are even smaller than the molecules of air. Combine that with hot weather, our urban traffic pollution, and you have this smog of cloud covering our skies. Now, the EPA and the WHO accept somewhere between 0 to 10 micrograms per meter square of air of these particles. Right now, we are over 85. We're 8 times normal, these dangerous particles in our air. So we see the visual effects of this smog cloud covering our city, but it can have consequences just beyond visual effects. It can actually affect our breathing and our heart.
So when you say particles, can we break it down even further? Should we be comparing it to like if you were breathing in dirt? Like what would be a comparison?
Yeah, I think dirt is a very crude way of looking at it, but dirt is something you can visually see. It is
Hmm.
something that is tangible. These are microscopic things that you cannot actually see till a lot of it comes together and becomes a smog cloud. So the deafening part of about this kind of air pollution is that it's not very visible to the naked eye. The nature of them being very tiny and small, they can enter into our lungs and bypass our natural defenses. So they have the potential to go in and trigger some of the underlying lung illnesses. For example, if you have asthma or COPD, you will feel heavy breathing and may even have a flare up of these conditions. If you have a heart condition, you can expect a little bit rise in your blood pressure or have the occasional cough, maybe some headaches or runny nose or runny eyes.
Okay, that was actually gonna be my follow-up question for you, so I'm glad that you went over that. I had wanted to know, like, what would be the signs that we should be looking out for? So let's go over them again. You said the headache, the runny nose. What were some more?
You can have a cough. You might start producing some mucus or phlegm that might
Hmm.
look sticky or gooey. That's just your body's natural way of blocking these tiny particles from getting from your lungs into your bloodstream. Right now, the we are at a code red. That basically means that the air quality is so bad that there are 8 times more particles in the air than that is safe for human breathing.
Hmm.
We are luckily going to see some code yellow, which is a much milder level of these particles in the air by tomorrow, which is a positive sign that this might be just a passing small cloud.
So now let's talk about what you should or shouldn't be doing outdoors when we're experiencing these kinds of conditions. If we started the day with that code purple, we heard everybody should at least try to stay
Mhm.
indoors. Now we've got the code red. If we talk about a code orange and yellow, what would be appropriate for us to do?
Yeah, I think you color coded it beautifully. And what I would urge everyone that air quality is not the same in every part of the city. So every part will have their own set of circumstances. So log on to your weather app on your phone, or if you don't have one, go to iqair.com, and we'll give you all the details about what is the air around your surrounding. And even you can put in zip codes and find out what is the air in the area you intend to go in. Now, code purple means that your air quality is so bad, even healthy individual with no lung or heart problems will have a significant exposure of these particles, PM 2.5, and they can have heart and lung effects. They could be temporary. If prolonged exposure is there, they could have some long lasting effects. Code red and orange have very similar overlapping meanings, means it has come down from code purple, like healthy individuals might be able to sustain it for longer periods of time, but it is still unsafe for our vulnerable populations. Let's say people who have already have lung conditions like asthma, COPD, bronchitis, interstitial lung disease, our women who are carrying children who are pregnant, our children under 14-year-old who have developing lungs, and also our elderly who are on medications that lower down their immunity. In addition, that is sort of code red. And people who are healthy, they can still be out, but if you do any strenuous exercise like running or bicycling and put a strain on your body, then in code red, you will have an extra strain on your heart because it has to work double time to supply blood to your lungs to overcome this PM 2.5 particle. At Code Orange, we only urge people who have existing lung conditions or people who are vulnerable, like pregnant women and children, to stay inside, but it is relatively safer to be outside for limited amounts of time. Code Yellow is like a warning that it is higher than usual, but limited exposures is safe, even for the vulnerable, but it is still 3 to 4 times higher than normal acceptable air quality conditions.
Okay. So you said something that was really interesting to me in terms of ages, because we've been telling people that the most vulnerable population means our children, our elderly, and then today I was able
Mhm.
to tell people about the pregnant folks. But um, you specified all the way up to age 14, and I believe the reason you gave was because their lungs are still developing. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, so a child when they're born, their lungs are not even size a little bigger than my thumb, and the lung keeps growing till the age of 14, right? So they have very little lungs functioning almost at the same level as an adult, right? So when you are under 14, your chances of this particle affecting your lung are much higher because we, one, don't want this particle to affect your lung development. Two, we don't want it to interfere uh, from your lungs absorbing oxygen, which is essential in those growing age. So yeah, less than 14 are definitely vulnerable children. If you are if you have a child less than 14, you are in an area of code orange, red, or purple. Have caution. A limited exposure might be safe. If you have to be out, like it's a moment yet you cannot miss out. I know there's a Harry Potter drone show going on, and a lot of kids are into it. A well-fitted N95 mask can be put on, and it filters about 95% of these particles. Now, this is not your garden variety surgical mask that you can get from a grocery store. It is a highly specialized mask, but you can get it out of like specialty medical stores and Amazon.
Okay. Would that include our pharmacies or? Yes.
Yeah, usually pharmacies carry it. Sometimes you will see Asian parameter on this, like KN95, that is also safer. Some children prefer it because it's a little bit more comfortable. Most of the people who work in hospital or any medical field are very well aware of these masks, and pharmacies readily carry them, and they can even help you find the right size. If you feel the smog is entering your homes and it's making your living area very difficult, you can also get an air purifier, which is HEPA. This is a specialized air purifier that can filter out most of these microscopic particles and make the air quality in your living condition much more breathable. But it's these nuances are different for different people. I know that a lot of my close friends are out there today. It's a Friday night, and a limited exposure would not harm them in the long run, but do know that you can have some acute reactions like a cough or a burning sensation in your eyes that will go away with time.
So, Dr. Samid, we actually just got an interesting point in our TikTok live stream chat, and if you don't mind, I want to pose it to you. So,
Absolutely.
they're saying, what would be the difference between what we've got going on now versus kids who sit by bonfires with their friends and they go home and they're okay? Why is this different?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. When you have bonfires and everything, there's an airflow current that's flowing all the time. So whatever particles that are being made by a bonfire are moving with the flow of air, and they're not stuck like a cloud in your lower environment. They dissipate upwards and then dissipate into the atmosphere. Here, a perfect set of conditions have happened. We have the heat wave, we have the urban air pollution that had created these perfect conditions, and then the smog fire from up north has settled into a cloud form. So it's like kind of sitting there and not flowing forward at it as it should. So generally, when you are in a bonfire, you are probably making less than 10 micrograms of these particles anyway, because these are little pieces of wood just for, like, the nuance and the and the ambience of the environment. Here we're talking about a big plume of cloud with a lot of wood burning, and that has not moved on. It's kind of like stuck. It's like sitting on that bonfire, and it just keeps, like, in a closed glass chamber, just keeps collecting that smoke. So that's the difference between a normal bonfire and then this sort of like smog cloud settling over the city.
That makes perfect sense. And I like the way that you posed it at the end, saying that it would be like if you use the word classroom, but like if you were in a room, a closed off room with a bonfire.
Yep.
And then also let's add 100-degree weather on top of that. So it's a perfect storm, as you mentioned. One last question that I have for you. We are seeing that people are still getting out to these different events. Right now, there's a Shane Gillis comedy show going on, and thousands of people are out at a stadium that doesn't have a roof. So if you did go outside and you were outside for a significant period of time, how much damage would really be done? And is it reversible? Like, could you drink a little bit of water and flush out whatever it is that you breathed in?
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic question. And You have to remember the body has layers of defenses against all this. It's not like these particles came out of nowhere and we're just finding out about that. They do exist in the environment on a daily basis, and you are exposed to some amount of it without knowing, right? So it also depends on what is your underlying condition, how healthy are your lungs, how healthy is your lifestyle. So let's say you're a healthy individual, you're just at a comedy show, you are not going to miss out on this, fear of missing out, FOMO, as to say it. You will be exposed to 8 times right now, as if it's happening right now, 8 times the amount of these particles that you would usually be. There is a very good chance that your body defenses might tackle it. You might wake up with a mild headache and it might just pass. There's also a chance it might trigger an unknown underlying condition. Maybe you have asthma, or it might trigger an asthma inside. Bottom line is, if these particles do end up getting into your blood from your lungs, your body has defenses that will get rid of them eventually, as long as you don't stay in that cloud. So I understand that it's a weekend coming and everybody has family and they want to enjoy their time off. A little caution is necessary. As I said, if you think you're vulnerable, or if you had bronchitis or an episode like this, if you smoke or you don't have healthy lungs, then an extra set of caution, maybe getting that mask and covering yourself for a couple of hours, is not the worst idea. At the same time, if you're exposed to it and you're coughing and having that, or you're feeling you're not feeling breathing right, calling 911 is the way to go. But for most people who with limited exposure, with time, their body will clear this out, as long as they are otherwise healthy.
Okay, that is great news to hear. We're all going to keep all of this in mind. I hope that everybody listens to what you had to say. I appreciate you letting me pick your brain, because like I said, I think this was very helpful. So Dr. Smeed, thank you so much for your time here on Philadelphia Live.
Thank you for having me, Philadelphia. Be safe and try to stay indoors.
And you be safe too. Those of you guys streaming out there with us, I also want to get into air quality issues. What does it look like in your area? We've been telling you all day long that here in Philadelphia, we are now in a code, I believe, we're still code red. We're maybe going down to a code orange, maybe even getting to see yellow tomorrow. We're all going to keep our eyes on this as storms are potentially making their way into our area. But what about our viewers who are out there in other states or across the country altogether? I asked you at the top of the show to let me know where you were viewing from, and quite a few of you hit us up on Facebook. So let's start there. We already looked up Philly, so West Philly, you're covered. Let's try Columbus, Georgia. That's a little down south, so I have a feeling your air quality is a little better, probably in the yellow range if I could guesstimate. Let's see. Wow, all the way in the green. You guys got good air quality down there. You should be breathing pretty well. Okay, we've got another person watching us from Indianapolis. Can we check there? All right, Indianapolis is also in the good zone. You guys are doing pretty dang well. How about Detroit, Michigan? Okay. Complete opposite side. They're in the purple, code purple, which is considered very unhealthy. Again, as we were listening to some of our officials tell us, code purple means everyone, not just people who already have pre-existing health conditions or respiratory systems that are still developing. Everyone would feel some discomfort in those conditions. Let's see, we've got some more people writing in now where they're watching us from. Connecticut, yes. Could you tell us an exact point? How about New Haven, just to get us started? Hartford. Okay, perfect. Looks like you guys are in the green, which is really interesting because we've got a northeastern state here, but it seems that Canada's wildfire smoke has not come to your area. Let's see. Okay, back to Philly because someone did just ask about that. We are still in a code red, and as you can see, it is actually very close to the purple that we were in earlier today. But according to our officials and our meteorologists, things are getting better, so keep your eyes on it.
Somebody just asked us for Manhattan.
All right, Manhattan, so we're bringing it back to New York City, code yellow. And what's interesting about New York, at the top of the show, we got to show you guys the Statue of Liberty, and you could barely see her. Like, it was dark, it was gray, it was dreary, but it looks like you guys are only experiencing moderate air quality concerns out there. Hey, so I just want to shout out Philly Babe 215 who said thanks for doing this. No problem. Again, you guys just let us know exactly where you want us to look up, and we got you. Let's see. Someone did ask about Canada. Canada's probably the worst of us all. because of course that's where those wildfires came from. Okay, New Haven did come in. New Haven, you guys are in the very low moderate area, the range, so very close to green. Someone said California. Tell us a city. We can start with, where are you looking up? Los Angeles, maybe? But Melanie, let us know exactly what part of California you want us to check out. Okay, Los Angeles seems to be in a yellow. There's a lot of smog usually in Los Angeles anyway, being an urban city. So I don't know if this is just, you know, run of the mill, what you would be dealing with on a normal day anyway. All right, we're gonna take a pause there. Continue letting us know what cities you want us to look up. In the meantime, I wanna let you know that there is a guy out on YouTube. He does these kinds of demonstrations that show you how to make some pretty cool things. And this one in particular is kind of like your own mock air purification system. So we've been telling people that it might be a good idea to get one in your home to make sure that you're getting out all the nasty air and making sure what you, your children, your fur babies are breathing in is top-notch quality. So let me show you real quick how he made one from some things that he just had laying around the house.
Today, we're going to talk about how to build what's become known as a Corsi-Rosenthal box. This device was actually created to provide for significant reduction in the amount of virus-laden aerosol particles that are in the air. There aren't a lot of elements to building the box. What you really need are 4 MERV 13 filters. In this particular case, I'm going to be using 2-inch filters. And as we start to build the box, keep in mind that filters always have this arrow pointing in the direction that you want the flow going. We have a box fan. We have the box that the box fan came in. This is going to be important because we need some cardboard to put on the bottom of the Corsi-Rosenthal box. And then, of course, you need duct tape. We're going to use a lot of duct tape to just seal up all the edges around the fans. So it looks like a good fit, and the best thing to do is just to simply turn this over now. And I'm going to do the same thing with the floor of the Corsi-Rosenthal box as I did with all the filters when I connected them. You now have 5 sides of the Corsi-Rosenthal box. It's structurally very sound. I'm putting pressure here in all directions. I'm not seeing any flexing of the box. We want to make sure that the box fan is blowing out, right? We want the air to be blowing out, which means that we're going to replace all that air that we're blowing upward with air flowing into the filters. We want to make sure that when we get this box fan on top, we seal it nicely around all of the edges. And that's probably the part in building it that takes the most time. You have to be a little bit careful here. Depending upon which fan you use, you may get this kind of thing happening where you have a little gap right here between the top of the filters and the box fan. We want to make sure that that goes away. We want to seal that up. What I'll do is just take little pieces of cardboard like this and put them in the corners here, seal them up nicely in the corners, and make sure that that gap doesn't exist. And I'll just take a little bit of duct tape and do that for each of these corners. The blades on the box fan leave a gap in each of these corners. So we want all the flow coming out, but in the corners you can actually have air flowing back in this direction, which reduces your total flow rate through the filters. So what we can do to overcome that is just put a small shroud or cover on each of these corners. And so that's my last step here, is I'm going to use some of that cardboard from the box fan.
You guys, isn't this
This
so
device
cool?
with the right fan can deliver 600 to 800 cubic feet per minute. And the cost of all the materials for doing this is on the order of about $65. So about 1/4 of the cost of a really good HEPA air cleaner to build a Corsi-Rosenthal box, which is more effective than that much more expensive air cleaner. And that's the beauty of this device.
All right, you guys, that was Richard Corsi from the Department of Engineering, College of Engineering out in UC Davis, showing you guys how you can make one yourself. And he said it was about $65 if you didn't already have the materials. But let's say you did already have one of those standing fans. You did already have some the filters, because you know you would have been fixing your air conditioning up or having someone come and do it for the household, and you probably do have tape and scissors laying around. You'd be able to do it for free. So I just wanted to show you something like that. I thought it was pretty cool. We've got a couple of more cities added. Let's take a look at them before we move on. Someone asked if we could look up St. Paul, Minnesota. So as you know, they are also experiencing some bad wildfires in their area, not necessarily coming from Canada, but from within the Twin Cities themselves. So they're at a moderate level, which actually isn't that bad. It's actually very close to the green. Their officials, I do believe, said earlier today that they expected to continue going in the right direction. We've also got a request for Columbus, Ohio, literally almost right there on the line, but you guys are in a code red. All right, let's see what else. Someone made a joke about the air purifiers, said they would make one to put over their head when they go outside. Just wear a mask. All right, we've got Hartford, Connecticut again. It looks like you guys are in a code green, which is perfect. You got good quality air. Should be able to go outside, have a good time without experiencing any kind of difficulty while breathing. All right, you guys, with that being said, another set of tips I want to bring to you all comes from our meteorologist, Drew Anderson. Earlier today, he showed you how you can make sure that your filters in your home are up to date for your air conditioning, just to make sure that, again, you're breathing in the right air. Take a listen.
We will not get rid of this bad air quality. So if you're going to head down the highway, here's what you want to do. Come over, press that button right there. What that does is it recycles the air inside your car. So you're not bringing in that bad air quality constantly from outside to inside your car. So make sure that's on tonight. A couple other things I would recommend. And here's what I would do right at my house. I grab this right here, one of the air filters. When's the last time you changed your air filter? If you got one of the houses where you got to slide them out and slide them in. See, these are taking the brunt of all these particles from the wildfire smoke. Now listen, you may not smell the wildfire smoke right now, but the air quality is still just as bad. It actually depends on some of our local weathers. Like, for example, one town here could smell the wildfire smoke, and then maybe 10 minutes down the road, the other town doesn't. So the particles are out there. This is blocking out the particles, and I learned something. This number right here, MERV, tells you how good this is. It's on a scale of 1 to 16. I got the 8, so I got the middle ground. That's what I paid for right here. And what it goes like is this. The higher the number, the more particles it blocks out. 8 is actually really effective for wildfire smoke when I checked. And then lastly, if you do have to go outside for a period of time, you still got any of these left over? These are rated to block out the particle types that wildfire smoke would have. The stuff that you're not even smelling that's in the air today. So this would be good to have if you're outside for a long period of time. So those are some tips to help keep us safe with this wildfire smoke. Well, we still got it for now, guys, but we'll send it back over to you.
I love a good show and tell. We don't just tell you what you can do. Drew Anderson's also showing you what to get, what to do, how to switch it out. So we'll touch base in with him again, and as well as one of our other meteorologists, Scott Williams, just to keep you guys updated on what's going on outside, especially if you have plans. You guys, we're going to take a quick step back. When we come back, though, I want to bring you on out to, I believe this is going to be Houston, Texas. There is a vigil happening right now for a man that officials say was shot and killed by ICE officials. We'll get into it when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live, happening right now in Houston, Texas. There is a vigil going on for 52-year-old Lorenzo Salgado Araujo. I'm hoping that I said his name correctly. I want to do it justice. So we're learning from officials. Originally, the government said that they were targeting this man, and they say that during which he had hit ICE agents' vehicle. ICE agents then opened fire, killing him. Now, the U.S. Attorney General has also spoken and says that they were actually targeting 2 Guatemalan men who were potentially subject to deportation. He said that they were actually driving a van that was similar to the one that Salgado Araujo was driving when he was killed. So we're getting conflicting messaging depending on who you ask, whether it is the local news agencies reporting what they're hearing from the U.S. Attorney General, or if you're listening into what the officials are putting out there. All at the same time, again, this vigil is happening, and I want to let you listen in to where they are in their remarks.
The Urban League, and we have a lot of national, state, and local. We're very fortunate to have Carmela representing the Urban League. Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Johnny, thank you so much. This coalition and all of our members, the hearts and the minds of our members and all community members here is incredible. And I do want to speak to your hearts tonight because nobody should die at the hands of folks who are completely invisible. We don't know who these people are. But I want to let you know that we need to defend democracy. We need to demand diversity, and we need to defeat poverty. We, right now, are in a situation where the tides are changing, our structure is falling. But the deal is that we have each other here. Folks are really mistrusting of the process. They're scared to go or open their doors, even when we go to canvass. People don't want to open up their doors. They don't know who's there. But we're the ones that are responsible for reinstating that trust. We're the ones that are responsible for making sure that we have proper health care, environmental protections. We've got committee members right here who are going to Washington because of the rollbacks. We have even President Dixon, and we have all of our community members here, and Johnny's been in this fight forever, and now they've welcomed me as the legislative chair. I'm tracking the legislation, and I'm watching the rollbacks. I'm watching the National Defense Authorization Act and how they're wielding that to actually include Israel and our military. But those are unarmed people. We don't know who they are. And what I'm saying to you is that put down this illusion of racism. It's false evidence appearing real. It's not real. They're wielding it as a sword to implement policies that don't serve us. I mean, we're one. I don't understand how people just can't understand and can't see. I mean, I hear some of the political talk in Washington, and I'm just stunned. I'm stunned at the stalemate. I'm stunned at the fact that they are willing to off and eliminate so many people. And it's not just Black people. It's not just Hispanic people. This is the deal. It's everybody. It's all of us. What are we going to stand for? What are you passionate about? What do you want to do? Because we have men, women, children, elders. We have veterans. We have folks to protect. It's our community. And we have to see it through. We have to see this through. We have to get some courage. And we have to stand in love. And so I just implore you to do this. I stand with you. I do this every day, tirelessly when I tell you. And I stand with all of my comrades here, and I want to stand with you. We want to stand with you. So let's make it happen together. We can. Just because we're seeing rollbacks doesn't necessarily mean we can't press for progress. You know what I'm saying? So thank you so much for your hearts and minds tonight. We're going to do this, and we're going to do it well. And we're going to do it with courage and conviction. Thank you.
All right, so once again, if you're just now joining us, I want to go back over what we are watching and seeing and hearing here. It's the individual that they're holding the vigil for. His name is Lorenzo Salgado Araujo. He's 52 years old. He was killed by ICE agents, they say, when he was driving a vehicle. According to officials, they say he used that vehicle to hit an ICE agent's vehicle. Then they opened fire, again, ultimately killing him. According to some more reports, they say that he was actually driving to a Houston construction job site with 3 of his coworkers, one of whom was actually a family member of his. They say he had been living here in the U.S. for the last 35 years. He was not a legal citizen yet, though. They say that he was working on obtaining his legal status when all of this happened. So again, this is a live vigil happening right now in Houston, Texas. I just wanted to let you listen into a little bit of some of the things that they're saying, the rhetoric that they're using, so we all understand what's happening right now across the country. With that being said, I want to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, though, President Donald Trump, he was out speaking about in New York City. You may have heard some news that he will be attending the final FIFA World Cup match, this one taking place in New Jersey. It's going to be Argentina versus Spain. I also hear that he will be part of the presentation of giving whoever wins their trophy. So we'll get into what he had to say today at the FIFA reception. I also want to give you guys some updates on Senator Lindsey Graham. Remember, he passed away. We'll get into what's going on with his funeral arrangements when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia. The world of politics continues to mourn the loss of Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina. He had been in the Senate since 2003. He died at 71 years old this past weekend. And again, a lot of people are still reeling, trying to figure out what's next. So we are hearing reports that there are memorial services set for him. They're going to happen later on this month out in D.C. and, of course, where he's from in South Carolina. So we're hearing that in D.C. there will be a service held for him on Tuesday, July 28th, and then the South Carolina services will begin in Pickens County and Columbia on Wednesday, July 29th. They're also putting together national funeral service plans for him. Originally, they said that they faced some complications due to a number of foreign leaders who had wanted to attend, but they seem to have worked things out, and it looks like, again, the 28th and the 29th will be the days to look forward to. If there are more memorial services planned, we will be sure to let you all know about them. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has made his way to New York City earlier today. He held a reception out in New York City for the FIFA World Cup. The FIFA reception was held there, and he talked alongside Gianni Infantino. Now, this is because on Sunday, out at New York Stadium, he will be attending the FIFA World Cup final. So again, as we mentioned, Argentina will be facing Spain. It should be a pretty interesting match, if I say so myself. I think a lot of people are excited at seeing who actually takes all of this home. It's going to be interesting for President Donald Trump, too, because he's part of the presentation to give whoever the winner is their World Cup trophy. So this is interesting. I mean, this isn't by far the first sports event that he's attended. He's been to quite a few. You probably all remember one of the latest ones. He watched the Knicks when they were in the finals for the NBA. And unfortunately, at that game that he attended, they did not end up winning that one, but of course they ended up taking the whole thing home. So again, earlier today, he held that reception in New York City at Trump Tower out in Manhattan. And he spoke alongside FIFA President Gianni Infantino, again, talking about the way that they would be presenting the trophy and some other orders of business. I want to let you guys listen in on what they had to say.
Dear Mr. President, dear friends, colleagues, ladies, gentlemen, presidents from all over the world, dear President, we have the world united here today, the presidents of all the countries of the world, of course, of football or soccer in the world, but we know that this is the most important thing in the world, so the most important people in the world are here today. The legends of our game are here, those who made our hearts beat, who made the hearts of billions of people in the world beat, and of course, the FIFA Council as well. We are all here united tonight, President, to celebrate this incredible FIFA World Cup. When we met the first time, Mr. President, in 2018, in the summer, after the award of the decision, I promised you we would make a great World Cup. And by all means, this World Cup has exceeded all expectations. Full stadiums, 7 million people in the stadium, tens of millions in the cities in America, in Canada, in Mexico, billions in front of their TV, everyone enjoying the game with happiness, with joy, with peace, and the American dream, Mr. President, came to reality. We united the world. We united the world in America. When I told you we will do a great World Cup, you told me America will welcome the world, and you did welcome the world. Everyone that came here enjoyed it. Everyone that stayed home enjoyed it as well by watching the incredible images of these beautiful host cities, of the fans from all over the world coming together and enjoying in peace, Mr. President, in happiness and in joy, because I don't know if you know, but the official definition of FIFA is FIFA is the official happiness provider to humanity since 120 years. So we are providing joy and happiness. Unless the team loses, of course. And all this, of course, would not have been possible. And I say this because it is the truth. You don't need people to compliment you, Mr. President, but this World Cup would not have been such an incredible success without you. Please, your administration, every single person in the White House, in the administration, in the cities, in the states, everywhere, contributed to create this safe and secure and joyful environment to live something that the world has never seen. This has not just been, and is not just the greatest World Cup of all times. It is the greatest human, social, and cultural event that mankind has ever witnessed and seen, and we are all part of it. And for this, I thank you very much, Mr. President. Thanks for having us here. There is one more game to go. Two more games, the bronze medal tomorrow, and between England and France, of course, and the great final between Argentina and Spain. One country will be the world champion, but the world has already won. America has won, FIFA has won, and uniting the world in such a way as we did this summer, giving unforgettable experiences and memories to millions, to billions of people all over the world, is something that we will take with us and cherish forever. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
So, I want to thank Johnny, this guy. He came to me with this crazy idea. I said, are you crazy? We're not a soccer country. It turned out we were a soccer country, and I think it's going to remain. But what he's done and what he thought of, with a lot of your friends that I met today, they were very much involved in the decision. But I want to thank our great FIFA president, Gianni Infantino. There's nobody like him, actually, very few. And the entire team at FIFA for their incredible work. I've met so many of them. I see why you were so successful. Because of the commitment and devotion of the people in this room, this beautiful room where the sound is very good, because you're going to hear a great opera singer in a couple of minutes. That's why I say, you know, Pavarotti was here. I was saying years ago he was here, and he sang right in that corner. And he said to me something I never forgot, because it's luck. Sound is luck. Like talent, you're born with it. Sound is a little luck. He said, this is the greatest space. And he came and recorded either an album or a song, and we're going to hear somebody, you're going to hear somebody in a couple of minutes that's really good. But I did say to him, Christopher, are you as good as, he's an Italian man also. I don't know, it seems that being Italian's a big advantage in that business, right? If his name was Christopher Smith, it wouldn't work out as well. But I said, Christopher, are you as good as Pavarotti? No, no, no. He was the maestro. He was the greatest of all time. There was nobody like, when you hear him, you'll understand he's just as good. Now, I would have said, no, no, I'm better than Pavarotti if I were him. And therefore, I'm doing this instead of that. But you're going to hear somebody who's fantastic, really an acknowledged genius. But this has been the most successful sporting event maybe in the history of the world. It's been amazing. So I want to congratulate everybody in this room, because you're very much into football. I'll say the word football. It gets a little confusing here because we have the great Bob Kraft. He's won 6 Super Bowls? 6 Super Bowls. That's not, stand up, Bob, will you please? And he also owns a soccer team, which is good, but hasn't been quite as good as the football. Do you agree? Not quite. And you're okay with that. He's okay with that, actually, in this country. Congratulations, Bob. Nice to have you. You've been my friend for a long time. But 8 years ago, all the way back in 2018, it was my honor to help secure the World Cup for North America, and never thinking that it would turn out to be what it's turned out to be. And Johnny said this would happen, but as fate would have it, I'm president. I said, you know, I was supposed to not be here right now. I was supposed to be president for 8 years. The polls showed it, everyone showed it. They rigged the election, and what did I get? I got the World Cup, I got the Olympics, and I brought him here. I tried to take credit for 250 years, but that didn't work out as well. I tried to say I created 250 years. That one didn't work, but I did get the Olympics, and we got this, and I don't know, this might be bigger than the Olympics. Tell me, is it bigger?
Much bigger.
All right, I'll take his word for it.
Much bigger.
I'll take his word for it.
100%.
I had a feeling he was going to say that, but Gianni, I want to thank FIFA Secretary General Matthias Grafstrom, as well as FIFA vice presidents and all of those vice presidents and council members, along with the presidents and general secretaries of FIFA member associations, along with some presidents of their countries. Of course, being a president of your country at this particular time isn't really as good as being the president of one of your associations, but you've done an amazing job. In fact, the presidents of the countries are sitting in the back row. You believe this? They're going to be very upset with you. But we also have many famous FIFA legends and all-star players, people that I recognize, being somebody that knows something about sports. I have my children love soccer. My one son, my very tall son, Barron, loves soccer. He's a good soccer player. He may, I don't know, his speed might, he's very tall. I don't know. I said, when some guy gets by you from Spain, from Argentina, from France, Barron, what happens? From England, what happens, Barron? He said, Dad, I'm a very good ball handler. I said, but Barron, if he's faster, what do you do about it? Dad, he'll never get by me. I said, but when he does. And he didn't want to answer that question. So speed, I think, is quite important in this sport. Do you agree? Oh, yes. But he has good skills, actually. But he helped, Johnny helped shape the game. You all helped shape the game and really bringing it to a level that I don't think I've ever seen before. Melania's father, Victor's sitting right here, and he's been a wonderful father-in-law, a great guy. And he said he used to play soccer as a young man. He didn't quite make it into the big leagues, but he's a good athlete. Victor, stand up. Stand up. An ex-soccer player. But we're gathered tonight. Thanks, Victor. But we're gathered tonight. He's going to be at the game along with Melania, along with everybody. I mean, who's not going to be at the game? If we had about 10 million more, we would sell every ticket. This thing is sold out. Nobody's seen anything like it. But we're gathered tonight in New York City as we await the final face-off on Sunday between the two amazing teams, Spain and Argentina. I watched that pass that Messi made, and not knowing as much as the people in this room, but I know about sports and I know about a little bit about soccer. But I watched Messi, and he was well guarded, right? Well guarded. And all of a sudden, he's standing on the right. You understand what I'm talking about? I don't know if anybody didn't. I just noticed it. Nobody talked about it. I just noticed it. I said, he's so well guarded by a great player. And then he moved to the right, and the other player was just standing there. And he had plenty of time. He kicked it. It was within, I would say, a quarter of an inch of being perfect. And that was the end of the game. It was brilliant. And these great players, they seem to do that over and over again. They're just born with something extra special. I know that Ronaldo is one of them. I got to know him over the years, and he's a great guy. You have a great player in England who I played golf with. You know that, right? And he is Harry, who's been fantastic. I think they perhaps made a mistake when they made him a defensive player. What do I know about soccer? They took the league and they took their best player and they put him on defense. Then somehow, we got to be a little offensive, right? But no, I'm not going to call it. Look, what do I know about coaching? But that was a little unusual. But Harry is a great guy, actually. But we're gathered tonight in New York City as we await the final face-off on Sunday between these two amazing teams. And it's going to be something, I think, really special. This has been a tournament like no other, filled with fierce competition, unforgettable moments, yet unforgettable moments. Like probably the most unforgettable is when they gave that gentleman, is it a red card? And I was forced to call Johnny and just make a recommendation. I said, Johnny, I'd like to make a recommendation. Let the guy in the game. No, I didn't say that. I said, I'd like to wage a complaint. And actually, I had no idea what was going to happen. But, it's so much better the way it worked out because there's no controversy. They won the game, and our team had all of its players. You made another great decision, if you think about it. I know you'll never get credit. You never get credit for that. Think of it if he didn't allow him, and they looked and say, we would have won the game if we had our best players. So Johnny made yet another of his many good decisions. But the spirit and patriotism and the unity that's brought, I think, the whole world together. This has really brought the world together. The 2026 FIFA World Cup has broken almost every record imaginable. This is the largest World Cup in history by far, by many times actually, welcoming 16 additional teams, and I understand you may be making it even larger next time. I suggested that this has been so successful that, and I'm really working these people hard because they really call the shot. They tell Johnny exactly what to do. I say, what we should do is you should choose the United States of America again. This time we'll leave Mexico and Canada out. But then what you do is which I was very nice to get them in, but what we do is you choose us, but you pick somebody else for the next one, and that will take some of the anger, hatred, and steam out of everyone. But Johnny also had another idea. He said we could do it China and the United States for next time. We do them China, United States, so you have a nice short flight in between games. The players would love that. But it is the world's largest, and it's like having, I first heard this, but many Super Bowls at one time. It's like having many Super Bowls. Bob, every stadium is packed to the rafters, the spirit. But fans from 200 countries attended 104 games spread across 16 Northern American cities. And I saw things happen. My mother comes from Scotland. My father comes from Germany. When I saw the Scottish bagpipes and the Scottish, they were going wild. I said, this is really different. And a lot of countries came here not knowing what to think, and they love the United States. In fact, the people that came, they're going to be coming back, maybe permanently, I don't know. They love the United States. We're doing great. We're doing great. It's the golden age of America. We're doing better than we've ever done. We have $19.2 trillion being invested, much more than any country's ever had, invested into our country, factories being built all across the land. But I'm proud to report that with more than 6.5 million attendees, this has been by far the most attended tournament in history, and that's the history of all sports. And that's only going to go, well, maybe up. I don't know where you're going next time. Where are you going next time? You're allowed to tell me. I'll let you know if you're going to do better. But that's a tough number to beat, right? That's why he's, what he wants to do? He's very competitive. That's why he's going to add some more teams. He figures by adding some more teams, maybe they can tap it. But the total number of spectators exceeds the entire attendance of the last two World Cups combined. And together we pulled it off really flawlessly. I mean, I don't want to say this because you do have two more games. And so let's not talk about it yet. I don't want to say how great it's been. We've had absolute spirit, I have to say the law enforcement, they're fantastic. But they didn't have to work too hard because the spirit was so good. There were no fights, there were no anything. So I just want to say great, but let's save it for Sunday evening. I think we'll hold it out for Sunday evening, but it's going to go well. By the time the final whistle sounds on Sunday, nearly 6 billion viewers will have watched this World Cup. That's a record by many, many times over. I have no doubt that the World Cup has won millions of new fans and a lot of new fans in this country, which traditionally hasn't been a soccer country, but it's getting there even before this. It's been going up, and this will have a big impact, I'm sure. From the first day of my administration, 2025, we've worked closely with FIFA to make this event a resounding success. We have great people. Andrew, thank you very much. Great job you did. You really worked hard, and thank you very much. Great job. To put our preparations into perspective, and the record-setting tournament has been the logistical equivalent of holding 78 NFL Super Bowls in less than 2 months' time. 78. We marshaled the resources of more than 50 federal departments and agencies, deployed every arm of the federal law enforcement to ensure the games would be safe, secure, and successful. And they've turned out to be amazing. The State Department expedited thousands and thousands of visas for World Cup ticket holders, very quick, we call it fast letting them in. We call it let them in fast. And we secured, and Marco was fantastic, Marco Rubio, fantastic in the job he's done, Secretary of State. And we secured more than $1.2 billion in funding to support transit operations and security for the games, 1.2, and he wanted more. I said, can we just relax for a little while, Johnny? 1.2 billion to transport people, isn't that nice? But I want to thank the White House FIFA Task Force. They've been really fantastic. And again, Andrew Giuliani did a fantastic job. Thank you very much. Hosting guests from all over the globe for the 2026 FIFA World Cup was also an incredibly special way to help kick off America 250 years of freedom we have. Tens of thousands of people from around the world that got to join us. We had a fantastic July 4th weekend, like I think we've never had before, and it was only enhanced by having you here. I don't know if you did that on purpose. I don't think so, but it worked out fantastically. We had an amazing crowd. 450,000 people showed up to celebrate our country on a very rainy evening. And because of lightning, everybody was forced to leave. And then I said, we're going to do it anyway, even if I have to speak at 2 o'clock in the morning. We called everybody back, and 150,000 people came back. They were on their way back to Texas and Oklahoma. And we had 150,000 people standing in the rain late in the evening. Somebody suggested, let's do it on a different day, maybe in a week or two. I said, no, it doesn't work in a week or two. It worked on the 250th year. From the Scotland fans who took over the streets of Boston last month to the Argentinian supporters who cheered on Messi. How good is Messi? The hat trick in Kansas City. He had the hat trick, something very rare, I guess, in your sport. That's pretty rare, isn't it? To our first ally, France, winning in Philadelphia on July 4th. What a game. They would seem to be, I mean, it's life in sports, but they seemed to be unbeatable, and then they didn't beat Spain. They were the team that was favored. They were the team that was winning, I think, probably the most easily, and then something happens. It can happen in life. It's sports. It can happen in life, too. You're hot as a pistol, and then you're not so hot. But I wouldn't know about a thing like that. No, it happens in life. You're hot, and then you're not. But you have to always make a comeback, right? You can never give up. But it's been a true honor for Americans to share our magnificent country with the world. And today, America, it's stronger and wealthier and hotter than ever before. And you're a big part of it. Once again, I want to thank Johnny and the incredible people of FIFA. They're incredible people. Got to know some of them during this period of time. I'll get to know some more on Sunday. And I want to congratulate every team that made the 2026 World Cup one of the all-time greatest sporting events in history. And I think beyond a sporting event, this has been not just a sporting event. This has been far beyond a sporting event. This has been something very, very special. So good luck to Spain and Argentina on Sunday, and may the best team win. And now it's it's really my pleasure to introduce a very talented man, the man that I cannot tell. You know, Luciano was a great friend of mine, Pavarotti, and he was a great singer, and I cannot tell the difference. The only one that tells me he's not as good is Christopher. He says, I'm not as good as him. He was the greatest of all time, as I said. But Christopher Macchio is a great, great talent, a very highly respected person within the world of opera, and you're going to hear a tremendous voice. And again, thank you very much. And Johnny, congratulations on probably the most successful event ever held. Thank you.
All right, so that's how the president ended up closing out his remarks there at the FIFA reception held today in Trump Tower in Manhattan. Keep in mind, on Sunday, the president will be making his way to East Rutherford, New Jersey for the New York-New Jersey Stadium. He wants to see Argentina take on Spain, and then at the very end, he will be invited on the pitch to present the trophy to whoever wins that match. Let me know who you guys want to see. Either put the flag in the comment section or just let me know by mentioning their country. In the meantime, I want to get you guys updated again on what's going on with the weather here in Philadelphia, New Jersey, Delaware. We'll keep an eye on everything that's going on. We have some pretty unhealthy air quality here, and I want to check in with our meteorologist just to see how things are going. Scott?
Yeah, well, you know, it's pretty much still status quo out there. I just looked at the latest numbers for Philadelphia, and we're still looking at, unfortunately, very unhealthy. So that means you still need to limit your outdoor exposure, still in that purple category. Some of those meter readings just coming in. So, of course, most of us are in the red, but we do have a few locations that are reading in that purple. That does include portions of Delaware County, also into Newcastle County, and also around Philadelphia County. So still looking at that higher concentration of smoke. So we'll kind of zoom in and show you, of course, the red is unhealthy, the very unhealthy, that is the purple that you see on the map. Several of those stations still, of course, reading some of those very unhealthy particulate matter particles out there. So, I mean, any length of time that you're outdoors, you just want to take it easy, and especially you don't want to kind of overextend yourself doing anything strenuous outdoors with some of that particulate matter. So as we go hour by hour, here's that computer model. The reason we're seeing a higher concentration of smoke right now, it moved to the south of us, but the wind direction, that has now shifted more out of the south. So it's kind of pushing that smoke back toward the Delaware Valley for tonight, early on Saturday. But watch what happens as we move toward Saturday afternoon and evening and into Sunday. It's lower. That's because we're watching a cold front that's going to be pushing through the area. That will give us scattered showers and some thunderstorm chances across the Delaware Valley. Some of those storms could be strong to severe. The main threats would be downpours. Also, flash flooding could be a threat. Damaging winds, hail, vivid lightning, and we can't rule out an isolated tornado with this system for Saturday. So everyone's been talking about the wildfire smoke right now, but for tomorrow, we're dealing with that severe weather threat. Those temperatures pretty much uniform out there, upper 70s to low 80s now in Philadelphia. And as that camera kind of goes across the area, you can really still see the smoke in the atmosphere, that haze, if you will. So that's what we've been dealing with for the past day or so, and it's still a high concentration. So that latest reading coming in, I'm going to step away actually and take a look if I can find that 9 o'clock observation coming in. Of course, everyone's kind of been monitoring that airnow.gov website. So I'm just going to refresh this and see if we can get the latest coming in. Still showing the 8 o'clock number, but it's in the very unhealthy category for Philadelphia at about 218. So that is still in that very unhealthy category. So that is the concern currently across the Delaware Valley. Now, in terms of the forecast for tomorrow, we're looking at slightly cooler temperatures. We'll go into the low 80s, but thunderstorms are in the forecast. It's going to come in a couple of waves. Tomorrow morning, there could be a few morning scattered showers and thunderstorms. That's with a warm front that will advance across the area. That will be followed by that cold front more toward the afternoon and the evening time frame. So multiple rounds of showers and thunderstorms as we've been talking about. The main timing, of course, for your Saturday afternoon into the evening time frame, and the main threats, tropical downpours. So we're talking about heavy rainfall. Rainfall rates could be 2 inches or more per hour. So when it rains, it's going to pour for your Saturday. Damaging wind gusts. A lot of folks are still on edge from those microbursts from last Saturday. These storms could pack a punch as well. We're talking winds that could gust 60, 70 miles per hour, enough to cause more damage across the area. Trees down, wires down, possible tornado or two. So that is on the table with this system because we're looking at all of the ingredients for tomorrow. And yes, there will be a little spin in the atmosphere. So take a look at this. Now, we normally show this severe weather threat map as issued by the Storm Prediction Center out of Norman, Oklahoma. And most of the time, we're either in that marginal risk or that slight risk, that yellow. But this go around, we are in that level 3 out of 5. So that's a little more vigorous than the slight risk. And that means that we could see more numerous thunderstorms capable of producing severe weather for your Saturday. So you just want to stay weather aware, especially if you have outdoor activities. Keep an eye to the sky because once again, any of those storms that form do have the potential to turn severe and, drop some heavy rainfall and some gusty winds out there. So we just want to keep everyone safe. So once again, we're looking at that flood watch across the area, the I-95 corridor, interior parts of South Jersey, Newcastle County, north and west suburbs. This is also just kind of a heads up that any of those storms could produce some flooding. So that's what we're going to be watching as this front approaches the Delaware Valley for tomorrow. Now take a look at this. Of course, we talk about those ingredients. So this shows the helicity. So that's some spin in the atmosphere. And, we go from green to a little more yellow as well as some areas of orange. So that means that the atmosphere is going to be kind of turning and rotating with height. So that could potentially spell an isolated tornado or two. And this latest model run really has a higher concentration over the Poconos, North Jersey, as well as into portions of New York. So we're going to just kind of monitor that trend, but we do have some higher helicity values that will be moving over the Philadelphia area at some point in time for tomorrow. Now, where are these storms coming from? Take a look at this. We're looking at a batch of showers and storms around the Great Lakes, and then as you get into sections of Wisconsin, this actually is something that I'm monitoring because that's the actual front that will be approaching our area tomorrow. And take a look at this. This is where our weather's coming from. This is the same system that will move across our area. And wouldn't you know, there are multiple severe thunderstorm warnings with this, as well as, I'm going to put the query on here, a few active tornado warnings. So that is the system, or at least part of the system, that will be on the move for us. So, I mean, we could have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings as well as a potential tornado warning with this system as well as it continues pushing in our area. So that's just kind of what we're going to be working with in terms of the energy with this system. Now, tomorrow morning, mostly cloudy. There could be a few thunderstorms, especially areas north and west, Berks County, Lehigh Valley, into the Poconos, 10, 11 o'clock. So mainly as you get around that northeast extension and points to the north, that's the first round that moves through. Then we get a lull in the afternoon, and then things kind of fire up 2, 3 o'clock once again, north and west first, and then that line of scattered showers and thunderstorms will be pushing from north and west to south and east for the afternoon and evening. Here's 5, 6, 7 o'clock right along the I-95 corridor, and that line could be severe. It could also produce an isolated tornado or two, and then it continues pushing into portions of South Jersey. That's 7, 8 o'clock. What's left of it kind of moves towards some of those shore points. So the entire day is not a washout. It looks like it's going to be mainly focused between about 2, 3 o'clock until I'd say 9, 10 o'clock in the evening when we see the bulk of the showers and thunderstorms in the main window of time. So in terms of that forecast at Citizens Bank Park, 4:05 first pitch, the Phil's taking on the Mets. Thunderstorms are likely in the forecast. Those temperatures will be holding pretty steady in the low 80s, so cooler, but we have that threat for some scattered showers and some thunderstorms in the forecast. Now, down the shore, there will be some storms around, especially tomorrow, late afternoon into the evening time frame. So I still think you can get some beach time in, but once again, those storms will be moving in from the north and west to the south and east as the day progresses. So you'll probably be hearing folks talk about thunderstorms moving through Philadelphia and then moving into interior parts of South Jersey, and then that's the batch that will eventually move down the shore. So that is certainly something that we'll be monitoring, because if you can hear thunder, you can be struck by lightning. As we take a look at that 7-day forecast, those temperatures only in the low to mid 80s over the next 7 days. So the heat wave officially ended today, our 5th heat wave of the season. Temperatures topped out today in the upper 80s, mid to low 80s. That will be the norm as we get toward most of next week. A few more pop-up showers and thunderstorms Tuesday into Wednesday of next week, but we're not talking about any heat waves out there. So once again, just be weather aware for tomorrow. Strong, severe thunderstorms, flood watch posted, of course. We could go into a type of severe thunderstorm watch, or maybe even a tornado watch for a time during the day tomorrow. So just download that free Fox 29 Weather Authority app and you'll get all of those alerts on your phone.
I second that recommendation, because when any suspect weather comes in, we're going to be able to let you know first and let you know how to get to safety. Scott, your forecast is a little bit of everywhere. We've had heats, we've had humidity, we've had air quality issues, and there's one term that I keep seeing float around on social media. What was it? Dirty rain? Is that a meteorological term, or is that like an internet jargon term?
Yeah, I think that's the internet jargon.
Internet jargon.
Term. Yeah.
Okay, so there's
It's particulate matter.
Okay, but let me ask you this: they're saying with the rain coming in specifically to New York City, and because of all of the particulate matter that's out there in the air, what's going to come down is dirty rain. And I'm just confused. Does that mean like the rain will literally come down and it'll be like gray and black, or?
Well, I mean, basically you get those particles that will be colliding with some of that moisture. So, I mean, it has to go somewhere. So some of that particulate matter is going to be in the cloud and fall in the form of some of that rain. So that's why we always say don't even eat snow, because a lot of that starts and it has some type of dirt or something on it anyway. So, I mean, most precipitation has some type of dirt or fine particulate matter that we can't see. So that's why don't drink the rainwater or eat the snow.
Because it's got me about the yellow snow when I was a kid. I didn't know about all of it. This is why my immune system is so top notch. I think that's what it is. Okay, so now we understand what that means, and they're saying it for New York. Potential for in our area too, since we do have storms coming our way as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And we'll keep our eyes toward you guys just in case it is a tornado watch coming into any of our areas. That is going to be very important for us to keep in mind. Again, Scott, thank you for giving us our forecast. I have to laugh. Someone in our live stream chat was like, why the forecast say forecast like a PH? Because the Phillies game. That's how we do things in Philly. This is Philadelphia Live. We get funny comments all the time, but I understand that people are watching from a little bit of everywhere. So ask your questions. I can ask our meteorologists, I can ask our reporters, or I can ask them for you myself. So that's why we do that. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, there have been press conferences all day long addressing weather incidents and events across the country. One that I want to bring you out to, Kerr County in Texas. It is flooding again. You may remember last year, we lost about 135 people to severe flash flooding in the area. Well, they're going through round two. We heard 2 people have already lost their lives. We'll get into what they know when we come back. back to Philadelphia Live. We also keep you guys updated on news that's happening across the country. We're learning that 2 people have lost their lives in some serious, severe flash flooding out in Kerr County, Texas. Keep in mind that this same time last year, we lost 135 people in same weather conditions. So officials in Kerr County are giving updates to their constituents to let them know what's still ahead, what they know so far. Take a listen to where they're at.
I'm not going to get ahead of the numbers or any of that stuff. I'll leave that to the sheriff. I know the governor's also doing a press conference in Uvalde, so we'll get some updates on the statewide and the regional implications. But obviously, I represent a big chunk of the area, not just Kerr, that's been impacted. I've been on the phone nonstop from the day that it's happened with Sheriff Latho, with the sheriff in Kendall County, sheriff in Gillespie County, Blanco County, Bandera County, all over, the folks in Real. And, you know, we're having conversations. I've had a good conversation with Secretary of Homeland Security Mullen, and what they've been doing. They've sent a couple of teams down here. I know there's a conversation ongoing about federal disaster. I'll leave that to the governor and our ongoing communications with federal authorities about what declaration may or may not occur. Obviously, there's an extraordinary amount of damage, but it's still underway. And we know that there's still flooding going up and water falling. You know, the Llano River's still going, the rainfall still happening out in Sonora. And we know that there's still impact in Uvalde. So deeply appreciative of all the coordination, all of the work, state, local, and federal authorities coming together to do what's necessary. And we're going to continue to pray for the people in the community here. I've already been in touch with some of the nonprofit organizations, the Community Foundation and others, about what we're going to do going forward. We're obviously going to need to move quickly, and already had conversations again with Secretary Mullen and with DHS and with FEMA. Cameron Hamilton should be installed there as the head of FEMA this week, and he's a good friend. And so we're having the conversations that we're going to need to do to make sure that the people of this community are going to be able to be supported, helped. Some of the houses that were rebuilt from last year were some of the houses that were impacted by this flood. But we're going to pray, and as I said last year, I'll close with this. You know, that cross stands out there on the hill overlooking Kerrville. The people of this community are strong people of faith, the people of Texas. They came together last year to raise $150 million to respond. We'll do it again, but right now we just need to finish the job of getting through the current moment and then get busy rebuilding. With that, I'm going to turn it over to County Judge Kelly.
My name is Rob Kelly, and I am the Kerr County judge. I think most of you already know what my position here is. I am the Emergency Management Director for the county. When this whole topic came up, the governor declared a declaration back on Tuesday. So it brought it to we knew about it as early as Sunday, I think, but by Tuesday we definitely knew what it was. And I wanted to share with you all what my primary responsibilities are at the beginning of an event like this, a disaster. And that is, I am responsible for declaring the disaster if one is to be declared. And if the disaster is in fact declared, it is my responsibility to set up the EOC, the Emergency Management Operations Center. And I can also set up incident command post if need be. But those are the primary responsibilities. We stood up an incident command post Tuesday evening, early evening, in response to the governor's declaration. And with that, we used the sheriff's training facility over at the sheriff's office complex to do that, and brought in some new equipment so we could see the weather and all the other things on the screen at one time there in the incident command room. That was on Tuesday. I couldn't go to sleep very well that night. I woke up about 3:30 and decided to go over to the incident command post there at the sheriff's office and check on it. And we already had it staffed and ready to go. The images were already up on the screens, and we were off and running. And that was on Tuesday. That was Wednesday morning. And then by Wednesday evening, we knew that everything was building with the rains. I think we had I looked at the National Weather Service statistics, and they say we had between 20 and 24 inches of rain in this event. And so that was Wednesday evening. Wednesday evening. And then I was awakened again early Thursday morning, about 1:30, with the report of the rainfall and the status of where we were. At that point in time, I went ahead and declared the disaster. And it was 3:30 in the morning when I declared it. And I haven't identified some of the other players in this, but we have what I call my de facto First Assistant Emergency Management Director, which is the County Judge-elect Tom Jones, who's Commissioner Precinct 1. And he and I consulted about 3:30 in the morning and decided we'd make our decisions jointly, this thing that we talk out together, and made the decision to go ahead and declare the disaster. It was about the same time I was talking to Dalton Rice, the city manager, and the city declared the disaster at the same time that we did, about 3:30 in the morning. And what we learned after that is we had problems in the incident command room with the electricity and with water seeping in, so we had to move it. And we moved the incident command from the training room at the sheriff's office to here in less than 30 minutes. I got everything set up over here and began operating the EOC in this facility. And so that is how we set up the emergency operating center. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Tom Jones. I am the current Precinct 1 County Commissioner, and I was asked to come up and talk a little bit about the infrastructure and the flood sirens. We in Kerr County, this event is very widespread. It was a totally different type of event than what we had a year ago. A lot of the problems that we had this year was because we had such a loss of the riparian recovery. The water came down fast, and it affected further down county, probably a little more so than it would have in the western part of the county. Currently, we have 19 bridges in Kerr County. 6 of those have major damage to some degree. With some of them we can't get to, we can't see yet. So we're waiting to find and get a total assessment on that. We have our engineering department and road and bridge that are currently working with Tatum to do damage assessments. And so we'll get further information on that as we can. That just won't be clear to us for a little bit. We have to wait for the waters to recede so we can do a complete assessment on that. The flood warning system, something I'm sure is very important to everybody here. The good news is it worked, and it worked the way it was designed to work. We have good fail-safes built into it, a lot of areas to correct if we see that we run into stumbling blocks, troubles, and those fail-safes worked perfectly. We began sending out at 1:36 a.m. A total of 59 throughout the incident, IPAWs and code red alerts. They began through the cellular monitoring before we actually started implementing the 3 sirens that we did set off according to protocols. There's been a lot of questions about the emergency action plan. That emergency action plan is in place. It will be approved through the court here coming up shortly. This happened a little quicker than we thought it would, but it's still in place, and it has been activated, and it worked just exactly the way it was designed to work. With that activations, 2 sirens were on the South Fork and 1 in Hunt, covering that section of the western portion of the county. Water levels didn't warrant any activation of sirens anywhere on the North Fork. So I think the plan came together, I think it worked, and I think we were extremely prepared for this event. And Sheriff Letha, you'll be next.
Kerr County Sheriff Larry Letha. Just want to say a few things from my part in perspective of the Sheriff's Office. The Kerr County Sheriff's Office is collaborating with the Texas Game Wardens, Texas Parks and Wildlife, Task Force 1 and 2, and Texas Department of Emergency Management, along with our volunteer fire departments, the City of Kerrville, and all other state responders. You know, it was a collaboration that we would not have went good if we didn't have all of them here to help us. With all these partners, we're involved in multiple high water rescues and evacuations across the county. You know, I know y'all like numbers, so on that particular day, on the 16th, we handled 234 calls of service for this particular event. That was on that one day only, the 16th. No calls went unanswered. Our teams immediately went into work as flooding began. We can confirm the identity of one gentleman who lost his life, and that's John Mark Stewart of Kerrville. Mr. Stewart's home was washed away in the area of Goat Creek Road in western Kerr County. Our officers recovered him near the 300 block of Center Point River Road. Our thoughts and prayers go out with them and their family. We do have one shelter open today. We're looking at maybe closing it. I just found out right before I walked in here, there's nobody in there at this time. When I started this morning, there was 17 people in there. A couple of things I'd like to tell y'all for the perspective of the sheriff and the sheriff's offices. These were two different floods, okay? We're not going to get into any detail on last year's flood, but what I want y'all to know is the difference is, as far as me, I got a call at 3:40 in the morning, not knowing what exactly I had. You know, when I went to bed, it was 3 to 5 inches of rain, where the forecast up to 7 or 9. We get those all the day. That's just another day at the office. Compared to today, we had heads up. We were prepared in a way of, we had the IC set up. We had notified all the camps. We're communicating with them. Our emergency management coordinator were. In addition to that, we had the fire departments all stood up ready to go. This year, we were ready to go. We just waited for it to hit, and we went into work. And I'd like to say I'm proud of every agency, all our elected officials that make this possible. I would like to thank the governor's office and the governor. You know, if it wasn't for him and the resources he gives us, I mean, it'd be almost impossible for us to do our job. I don't have a $4 million helicopter, you know, just at the hand of myself. But those resources were very valuable. They were here from the start. They're still here. I don't know how long we're going to last. We're accessing everything each and every day. We will keep you all posted. I also would like to thank all my elected officials. This wouldn't be possible. I mean, they contact me on a regular basis. They truly care about this county. So at this time, in closing, I'm going to ask the judge to come back up here and say a few words, then we'll take a few questions.
All right, you guys, so we're going to take a quick pause there. You got a taste of what they're doing out in Texas and what they feel their downfalls and what really helped them were. One of the things that I heard them say throughout the rest of the press conference, they had mentioned that they feel how quickly emergency alerts went out to constituents really helped people get out of Dodge and may have contributed to the fact that we've only had 2 deaths. Now, yes, 2 people were killed in the severe flooding, but when you compare it to last year when we lost 135 people, they consider this for what it could be called a win. So again, we are going to keep our eyes on what's happening in Texas, as well as keeping you updated on what's going on here in Philadelphia. In the meantime, we're going to take a quick step back. When we come back, I want to bring you out to Homeland Security Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen. He had some fiery remarks today. It's all connected to what President Donald Trump had to say during his primetime address last night. We'll get into it in a second. Welcome back into Philadelphia Live. Today, Homeland Security Secretary Markwayne Mullin is putting his foot down. He says that any state election official who doesn't want to roll through with this database that he's putting out, a federal database that he's pushing, if they don't want to roll their voter rolls through there to check whether or not voters are actual legal citizens here in the U.S., he says they could face prison time. He's also urging all of our governors to sign on to a new election monitoring program. And he says any of the governors who don't could have their federal funding cut. So he's standing 10 toes down behind President Donald Trump's address last night. It was very political, harped on election integrity. I want to let you guys listen in what he had to say.
Thank you so much for being here. You know, President Trump is correct when he said that election security is national security. And one of the greatest privileges I have is being Secretary of the Department of Homeland, and part of that is that we secure our elections. It surprised me when we first started getting in and digging into the elections, and this isn't about rehashing the 2020 election. This is just exposing what took place and to make sure it never happens again. And there's some really easy steps that can be taken to secure our elections. And it shouldn't be a partisan issue. This should be something that every American, regardless if you're a Republican, you're a Democrat, you're an independent, you're a libertarian, regardless if you live in a blue state or you live in a red state, everybody should know that their vote counts. And we have individuals that are voting that shouldn't be. It cancels out someone that should be. So I want to go through some things in a little bit more depth than what we were able to expose last night, because President Trump, he hit the highlights, and those should be scary for everybody. What we're going to do is dig in just a little bit deeper, and then we'll take some of your questions. So first of all, Department of Homeland Security, we've identified 250,000 non-citizens registered to vote in just 4 states. Mind you, we have 46 other states. And just 4 states, we've identified 250,000 non-citizens registered to vote in California, and Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Nevada. We also worked with proactive states to identify 28,000 non-citizens on their voter rolls, plus 400,000 individuals that are still registered to vote that are deceased. Now, these 23 states, they proactively worked with us on the SAVE program. That's Georgia, Ohio, Tennessee, Texas, North Carolina, Idaho, Alabama, Missouri, Louisiana, Kansas, Arkansas, Wyoming, Montana, Iowa, Florida, South Dakota, Indiana, Arizona, South Carolina, Utah, Nebraska, Michigan, and my great home state of Oklahoma. What's interesting to me is we're getting pushback from activist judges that are saying that, hold on, the SAVE Act or the SAVE program, they are trying to put a stop to. Currently, because of the SAVE program, we have a pending appeal because activist judges are saying what? They don't want to secure our elections? Once again, how is this a partisan issue? This shouldn't be a partisan issue. This should be that any judge and any God-fearing individual that loves this country should want to make sure that our elections are secure. And we have created inside DHS the SAVE program that allows states to proactively look at their rolls. And so when you have 278,000 individuals that are non-citizens registered to vote, plus 400,000 that have already been identified just in 23 states, what can we find? We have all 50 participating with us. We know, talking about our machines, we know for sure that our foreign adversaries not our allies. Foreign adversaries have parts that are vital pieces in our voting machines. We know that they can access what they consider the key to the back of these machines. We know that they can change voter registration and your vote. We know it's possible. There's not a question, it's not even for debate. One thing that I love about numbers and I love about facts is they don't lie. This isn't something that I'm trying to tell you to spin a narrative. This is what is going on. And what we are saying is that every state should partner with us to work to secure this. Once we identify the problem, everybody should be informed. Working with Secretary Lutnick, we are going to make our security enhancements mandatory, meaning that if these states want a grant and they want to be reimbursed to work or to run federal elections, they're going to have to implement security issues. Just security issues. We're not trying to get into anything else, but we're saying that the machines have to be secured and that your voter registration list needs to be scrubbed. We need to make sure that individuals that are legally able to vote are voting. We know that Iran hacked our state voter files and attempted to compromise, is the best word I can use, our systems where military members used to vote. So we're working with Secretary Hegseth and the DOW to safeguard those systems and protect our military voters. What's frustrating again in this is that the Biden administration knew this. And our intel community knew this. And not only did they withhold it from President Trump in his first term, but they withheld it, it looks like, President Biden in his term. They withheld this information from the public. They withheld it from Congress. That should never happen again, and because of President Trump's leadership, we're not allowing that to happen. We're telling the American people not to scare them, but to ensure them that we are watching it. We're taking it serious. We will secure our elections. Underneath President Trump's directive, he has gave Department of Homeland Security and myself the tools and the resources we need to secure the elections. But we have to have the states partner with us. If they choose not to, then the voters should hold them accountable. When I was sworn in just over 100 days ago by President Trump, and I can tell you honestly, I haven't quit smiling. I think this is the greatest job that I could possibly have. I said at that time that I'm going to fight for your yard and your backyard like I do mine, regardless if it's a blue state or it's a red state. Department of Homeland Security isn't just keeping you safe on your streets, but we're keeping our voters safe and our elections safe. But we can only do that if we have full participation. Right now, as I said, we only have 23 states participating with us. Out of just 4 blue states, to repeat that number, we found 250,000 non-citizens registered to vote. So for us, we're going to take proactive and reactive measures. At President Trump's direction, our cybersecurity team and CISA will release an updated election infrastructure plan, and it'll be public within 30 days, meaning that will give the states the resources they need to help from the cyber side. From us, if they participate in the SAVE program, we'll provide the resources and training to support state election integrity. We're not trying to change the outcome. We're trying to make sure that American people can trust our voting system. Real ID does not prove citizenship and does not give you the right to vote. You must be a U.S. citizen and you must be eligible to vote. Before and after the election, we will scrub all election records looking for illegal aliens and those who are ineligible to vote, including those that somehow voted, yet they were deceased. If you're illegal and attempted to vote, or you tried to vote illegally for someone else, we will find you and we will charge you. Illegal voter registration and illegal voting both carry penalties up to 5 years in prison and up to $250,000 in fines. We will pursue maximum pressure on this. To let you know, we will be proactively looking at early voting, and then after post-election, we will continue to scrub all those that did vote. Those states that don't participate with us, they have public records of those that voted, which is where we found the 250,000 from the 4 states that don't participate with us. We will go through those records one by one, and we will pursue everybody. We will make sure that people know they can trust our elections. If states want the grant funding, to recap, they must secure the elections. I want to thank President Trump's proactive approach to this. He has put together a remarkable team that not only is informing the public about what's going on, but we're also informing Congress, we're informing our states, and we're going to secure our elections. States must be aware of the real threats for voter registration and the system breaches. And I do want to reemphasize the system breaches. Our machines are vulnerable. There are steps that can be made right now that can secure those. I would ask not just the public, but the media. That question should be asked of blue states, because we have red states participating with us. We have some red states that aren't. Every state that's not participating with us should be asked the hard question, why not? What are you afraid of? If they're not willing to do it, it should raise serious questions. It's not that hard. This isn't a partisan issue. So in conclusion, to recap, under President Trump's leadership, DHS is well prepared to support all states, red states, blue states, and local election officials ahead of the midterms. States must do their part to secure our election systems, and we stand by to help. If you are an illegal or you're voting illegally, we will hunt you down, we will find you, and we will prosecute you. The American people must have confidence in our elections. Election security is not a partisan issue, and Homeland Security, we're here to support everybody. The American people, the states, even the media, to get access and the information they need to hold the states accountable. So with that, I'll open up for questions. Yes, ma'am. I think I like the Daily Caller better than the Daily Mail. I really don't like the Daily Mail.
I'll take it. We're on competition with each other. There's not 3 months until the midterm elections. I'm sure people are watching President Trump's speech last night, they're watching your remarks today, and they're feeling uneasy about casting their vote in the midterm elections. Can you ensure that the midterm elections will be secure?
First of all, great question. Thank you. When we start talking about can we ensure that the midterm elections are going to be secure? Yes, we absolutely can build confidence in the American people, but the states have to do their part. I will tell you, if the states that choose not to participate with the SAVE program and they choose not to participate in securing the elections, we will make sure that we make those states a priority to look at who voted in their states and hold then the election officials accountable. If the election officials, once we gave them the information they need to secure their elections, and they chose not to, then those individuals can also be held accountable by fines, by penalties, and even, depending on how far it goes, prison time. Let me get a follow-up question, and I'll get to you guys. Hold on one second. Yes.
Secretary.
The president has mentioned that there were intelligence officials who covered this up and kept it from him and President Biden. Do you have an estimate of how many intelligence officials were involved in this?
There's no question the intelligence community from the FBI, CIA, and even other places within DHS, not underneath President Trump's leadership, but that was underneath the Biden administration, kept it from President Trump and the American people in Congress. We are currently going through those lists. We will hold each one of them accountable. Some people aren't here. Some people are no longer in the agencies. Those that are, we will be held accountable. Those that abused their role in this will definitely be held accountable, because there is no excuse. If you purposely disobeyed the law and you purposely went around statute, then you have an accountability. You have a legal reason to be held accountable. Yes, sir. Yeah. Sir, I have not heard that at all, but we understand that it's being investigated, and we'll allow the investigation to go through. That's all I'm going to say about that. Yes.
Hi, thank you so much.
Yes.
Kara Castronova from
I got back here in the back.
Thank you guys. Kara Castronova from Lindell TV. Thank you so much for doing this briefing today. Is there any analysis on what went wrong with CISA in 2020 and the premature analysis that it was the most safe and secure election? It's now being revealed that obviously it was not. Will Chris Krebs or anybody that was involved in that premature analysis be held accountable?
Everybody that purposely misled the American people, abused their power and their authority, and decided not to continue doing their job will be held accountable. What does that accountability look like? I don't know. Is it criminal? We'll pursue criminal charges. If it is not criminal, we'll make sure you never work for the federal government again, and you never have the ability to have a clearance again. Yes, right here. I will look this way next, I promise.
Some of your numbers, you have 278,000 non-citizens going voter rolls. Any indication of how many of those people actually voted, or the 400,000 that are actually deceased? Any indication, total number of people that did vote, and what is your ballpark for how many of these people are actually voted?
So those that we've identified, the 278,000 non-citizens and the 400,000 deceased, we are now going through that record. We're standing up a department in DHS. Heather Honey, who is doing a great job exposing all this and working with the team together. Joe Edlow with USCIS and other teams. We are going through these files one by one. And one, identifying the individual. Two, did they vote? And three, where did they vote at? That's a hard, it's easy with states that participate. So the 28,000 that we identified with the 23 states that are working with us, that system can be very easily exposed, all 28,000. The problem is an activist judges now have put a hold on it, and so we're pending the case. Once it's turned back on, we'll be able to move fast. The 400,000 or the 250,000 in the just four of the blue states. Meaning, what were the states? So I got it right. California, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Nevada. Those are going to be a little bit tougher because we're going to file paperwork for FOIA, even us, to try to get that information from the states. But we will. I don't care how long it takes. We will go by this one by one, and everybody that did vote illegally, we will prosecute. We'll bring up for prosecution. Yes. By the way, it's very smart wearing a red dress because you catch everybody's eyes with my clothes. Same thing with what color shirt is that? Peach? Orange? I don't think that's orange. That's peach. That's definitely peach.
My first question for you is, given that left-wing lawmakers, legacy media has already suggested that the president's entire speech last night was discredited, it seems likely that blue states will not participate in your efforts. So how do you plan to respond to that? And then on my second question, on the traffic stops, did the president know about that decision before you made it, and at what point did he learn about it?
Yeah, so first, let's talk about the major networks not willing to carry the President of the United States address to the nation on election security. How shameful is that? I think it was ABC, NBC, and I don't know if CBS, did CBS carry it? Anybody? CBS carried it. So ABC and NBC not carrying that, why? What are they trying to cover up? Why wouldn't they want to inform the American people? Why are they calling themselves a news outlet if they're not actually trying to put the news out there? We wasn't giving spin on the election. The president wasn't trying to relitigate what happened in 2020, although he definitely could at this point. The president was giving facts, what we have exposed, what the Biden administration covered up, what the intelligence community held from the American people, Congress, and the executive branch, and we're putting it out there. And yet, 2 major networks didn't want to cover it. I think the question really should say why. Because they sure covered the other part of it when they were saying that it was the most secure election ever. What facts did they have? Because they didn't have facts. They were taking someone's word for it. President Trump gave facts. Today we're giving facts. When you start talking about the president and I are very close. I was texting with him this morning. He and I are there's no daylight between us and the enforcement. And in fact, we have ramped up our enforcement and our arresting illegals. Just to give you some numbers on this so everybody knows, and I want to get them correct, so I brought them with me. Last year total in 2025, we deported, now these are not including self-deportations. These are just ones that we had to go through. We had to arrest, we had to go through the system, and we had to deport, and they tried to stay inside the country, and they had no legal status to do it. 442,637 total deported last year in 25. To date, well, these are yesterday's numbers. We have 403,294 that we've done in 2026. Our arrests are up. We're hitting single-day records every single day. But what we've done is I've turned down the temperature of the stove to try to get it correct without boiling over. We're trying to perfect our ability to work with local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and get illegals and criminals off our streets. 70% of the arrests we do daily are felons or have pending felony charges. 70%. We should all be able to work together with that. Total removals is 3 million. Total removals, 3 million. 1.4 total aliens have been, since we've been put in place, have either volunteered to be deported, yet we paid for them, or we forced them. But as I said, total removals have said, hey, we're leaving the country and did it on themselves was over 3 million. Yes.
I want to ask about, thank you for doing this. I want to ask about foreign interference.
I'm sorry, who did you say you were?
CBS News.
Well, thank you for covering it last night.
Absolutely. I want to ask about foreign interference in our elections, but just first, since you mentioned turning down the temperature, what assurances can you give Americans that ICE officers will face consequences if they violated DHS's use of force policy? And who will make that determination? And can you commit now to making that determination public to the American
Wait, let me clarify. When I say turn down the temperature, when I turn down the temperature with you guys, we're turning up the heat on the streets. We're out there working harder than we ever have because we've empowered our law enforcement to do their job. What I'm trying to do is remove us from the headlines every single day. But everybody will be held accountable. I don't pick and choose which laws I'm going to enforce. I enforce our nation's laws. That means I'll enforce it with our own agency, and I'll enforce it with the criminals on the streets. That's my assurance. Yes. Go ahead. And I saw you stand up. I'll get to you next. Go ahead.
Could you speak more to how you're going to put pressure on the states to cooperate with you in this investigation?
Yeah.
In previous instances where you've had ICE already inquiring on registration, those have also happened in red states like Texas or North Carolina, where you had HSI or Oklahoma making those requests. Could you talk about the scope of this investigation? It seems like it's more than actually police force.
So when we start talking about enforcing, first of all, the states to work with us and then the scope moving forward, I obviously can't force the states, but the states always look to us for reimbursement when it comes to to helping with the elections. It's expensive to put on an election. I mean, think about every precinct in every county and then statewide. We are not going to spend taxpayer dollars reimbursing a state that is refusing to secure their elections. And we're not saying do it alone. We're saying we're going to help you. We're going to give you the tools to need it. We're going to give you the training to need it. We're going to give you the funding to do it. We're going to expose the vulnerabilities, and all you have to do is use that information and the finances and the training we're going to give you to secure it. If you do it, we'll reimburse you. If you don't, we won't. Last question. Hold on, I'm getting the guy right there in the back.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Neil W. McCabe, Real America's Voice. What are your former Republican Senate colleagues telling you? Are they in a mood to out